In this, you're not doing that.
Tua is not looking ahead, but he sure remembers last year's game with the Ravens.
I would say what I remember from that game was it was a hard-fought game. Our team last year, we were able to not let the win or not let the score dictate how we wanted to finish or how we wanted to continue to play that game. Obviously, the result was a win.
Linebacker Bradley Chubb has one thing on his mind today.
So, man, this is what it's all about, and just being in big moments for a good team, two great teams that are going at it. You live for this, what you worked so hard in the offseason for, and at the end of the day, this is not the end goal, you know what I mean? So we still got a lot to do and a lot to prove. So this is just a one step in that right direction.
Will injuries be the Dolphins' biggest test, or will it be Lamar Jackson or the Ravens' defense? Hey, it's time to figure it all out. It's game day, uncensored. Tobin, Solana, Omar. Pregame show for real Miami football fans on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Gameday Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day? Pour me in, coach. And Morris Sawgrass Buick GMC is a proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage.
Oh, baby. Good morning, everybody, and welcome on in. It is game day, uncensored here on 560 WQAM. We got 4 hours of pregame coverage for you asses. We are getting ready for a monster showdown in Baltimore. Dolphins, Ravens. This is very, very exciting, boys. Tobin here with you alongside Omar Kelly from alldolphins.com. and Alejandro Solana. Vlad producing this little shindig here today. As you guys can watch us on YouTube and Twitch, the channel Miami 560 WQM. You can listen on the Odyssey app, AUDACY, in your app store. This is very, very exciting. Now, some big injuries that we have learned overnight. I always know when I get a text at like 1 a.m. It's got to be something either really awesome or really bad. So once
you're out of the booty call realm of texting,
dude,
wife don't give you any booty calls.
No, we're done by like 11.
Okay.
There's a cutoff, Omar.
Yeah, I got you.
Like, what do you do for New Year's?
What time do the kids get up? Like, you gotta get,
My son's up early.
Yeah.
My kids got up for Christmas at like 4 a.m. I was like, what?
See,
what are you doing?
No, absolutely not. No,
you're not catching Santa. That's not happening. Sleep. That's not. What are you doing? So it's yes, I am out of that range, Omar. But Solana hit us with a text, made me very sad this morning, and that is it seems like and multiple reports have come out this morning.
It's not it seems like it's a no-go.
Yeah, I was hoping that Tom Pelissaro was a quack. He was trying to get a little bit too frisky. But Raheem Mostert out today for the Miami Dolphins. So a big blow to the run game. How surprising is this, Omar?
It's major surprising just from the standpoint. Mike McDaniel was the first person who says, good luck trying to keep Raheem out of a game. Good luck trying to keep him out of practice. That's not a tree I want to climb. And we know Raheem doesn't even want to not practice. So, and this is so important to him. I've said all season that I think he's the catalyst and emotional leader of this team. So this is going to be a big loss. 1,000-yard runner, tied for the lead in NFL in touchdowns. He's having a phenomenal season. He's probably going to be a Pro Bowler. You're going to lose that talent, which is probably your second best talent on your team offensively, or second best weapon.
This year, not an argument. You know, I mean, I think people probably would have said coming into the year Waddle, but no, I think this year production-wise, Solana, it's been Raheem. Your reaction when you got that news, because you broke it to us after a tough Heat Jazz loss last night, and then you're riding home. And
I was listening to your pregame, man. That was some depressing stuff.
Yeah, the post game, you mean?
Yeah, post game. Yeah.
No, it wasn't good last night. It wasn't, and I was hoping the Dolphins would save us today, going into the new year the right way. And then I get that news, Tobin. I apologize for messing up any sort of night that you were hoping to look forward to before bed. By the way, Omar, as soon as House Hunters International starts, Tobin's in his 8th dream by then. So.
Yep, for sure.
there's no action after 11. No, I mean, like I was hoping for some surfing celebrations in Baltimore, and bro, no Mostert. Like this team is just banged up at the wrong time, man. Right? Like
that's an excuse. Yeah, I mean they're banged up, but it's like it always feels like they're banged up, but they get some reinforcements that help out. Like that. The one thing I'll say about not having Raheem Mostert is I don't think that it's a loss, but it's not an insurmountable loss. They've dealt with this all year.
Oh, I'm not going to argue with you that it's not an insurmountable loss, but you're just saying take the context out of it. Mm-hmm. The team that has the NFL's leading touchdown score is going to be playing without him. That good or bad?
Oh, it's bad.
Okay.
That's bad. That's bad.
Not insurmountable, but they're also playing the number one defense in the NFL without him.
I'm just going by your way. Like it's bad, but it's not like Tua being out. It's not like I've got Mike White starting this kind of game on the road. Like they have Devon Achane. We've seen his talent. Jeff Wilson's had some pretty key runs this year. I think they can be okay. And I don't think anybody's going to give them the excuse if they lose this game or get blown out. Oh, we didn't have Raheem Mostert. Like, no one's going to give them the benefit of the doubt, Omar.
Yeah, no, you're right.
If Tua's out there, Tyreek's out there, no one's going to give this team the benefit.
But hold on. Without Waddle and Raheem, you're missing two of your top three weapons?
I don't think so.
Nope. No benefit of doubt? No.
Your two MVP candidates are out there.
Okay.
People are going to go boo-hoo.
When injury depleted offensive line,
I know.
Everybody's all
tough nuggets, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's why I'm saying. I mean, I just said it. Like this team is injured at the wrong time. They were supposed to be healthy. They were playing the long game, Omar.
Yeah.
All season long for late December, January.
Everybody gets injured in December, though. I mean, the Ravens got injuries.
That goes to the point, though, right? That's why nobody's gonna feel bad for the Miami Dolphins. Yeah. Oh, you're missing, half your offensive line.
Flowers might not play. They were out here rotating offensive linemen. Both of their starting inside linebackers are injured. Nobody's shedding a tear for the Ravens.
No one's shedding a tear for the Ravens at all.
Hell, they finished last season without their starting quarterback, as did Miami.
Yes.
So
there's a lot of teams dealing with they're looking at the Dolphins right now because of them both having their starting quarterbacks, two quarterbacks that had durability issues coming into the season, and they've been fortunate that Tua and Lamar have played all the way through this point. They don't want to hear about, you don't have your running back because we have Easton Stick out or we have Browning out here. Like the Vikings are on their 9th quarterback. Like no teams are going to want to hear that when you have your starting QBs out there. You have your two guys. But look, I'm not saying they're not reasons. If the Dolphins go out and Tua is running for his life because you have what the Ravens have as a front,
number one inside.
It's scary. It's a scary thing. And yeah, they're big losses for sure. The Ravens also have a lot of secondary injuries that they're not going to want to. Poor you. I'm sorry. So sorry you don't have Jalen Waddle. No one's going to want to hear it, Omar. No one's going to want to hear it from this fan base.
Listen, the stakes of this game are unbelievably high. I don't think there's a bigger stakes game in the NFL this week. If not, I mean, obviously the intensity ratchets up next week when teams are basically playing for playoff berths and playing for seeding. But you win this game, you're in the driver's seat for the number one seed. You win the AFC East. You've achieved every goal that you set for yourself at the beginning of the season, with the exception of the Super Bowl. You have this opportunity to take care of business. Not only that, but as I wrote in the alldolphins.com column, you win this game, Tua enters the final week of the season in a battle with Josh Allen as the front runner for MVP. Mm-hmm. Because ultimately MVP has historically gone to the team in the AFC or the NFC with the best record.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where we talked about this. It's a very, very volatile award because it really does go to the end. I mean, if you guys saw the odds numbers for Brock Purdy, before last week he was the favorite. After last week, he was worse numbers than Tyreek Hill. Like these games do matter in this award.
They're trying to entice you to bet.
They are trying. I mean, if you think Purdy's got a couple of extra ones in there. I was saying this, if you thought Tua still had the possibility of winning the award, you should have bet him 3 weeks ago because it was like he was behind Tyreek Hill. But it was going to come down to if he was going to win this award, if he wins the last 3 weeks against Dak, Lamar, and Josh Allen, it was going to be there for him.
If the Dolphins win out, Tua has to be the MVP.
I'm not arguing with you.
He has to be the MVP unless Tyreek Hill catches 200 yards today, and then next week he breaks the record, then there's the argument that it's Tyreek Hill. But I mean, gentlemen, what are we doing here? I mean, he's going to go up against the MVP favorite today, and in his house after arguably the biggest win of the season last week with the Ravens in San Francisco, shutting up a lot of people.
Yeah.
You're going into the MVP favorite's house to beat him, not only head-to-head, but also to take control of the AFC. I mean, you're telling me that's not worthy of the MVP award? Then I don't know what the hell is.
Winner take all.
It's a huge one. We got a lot to dive into here on Game Day Uncensored. Back with more to this.
See the ugly mugs that go along with our melodious voices? Do I have to worry about this? It's great that you're doing that.
Tobes, can you come in?
Did it get fixed?
I don't know. They weren't complaining, but these are the settings. See? Dude, Mike McDaniel's show. We never got it this whole.
It says audio live. He says we can still hear you. Careful with what you say.
You can hear us?
Yeah.
Maybe my mic.
That's what I'm saying. Like there has to be a room. We have the room setting on. We don't have.
Can you guys hear this?
Yeah.
Let's see. Test. Can you guys hear this?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Thank you.
Founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Hi, Joe Zagacki for Williamson Buick GMC. Get the most out of the South Florida lifestyle in a new Buick from Williamson Buick GMC. New Buick models are arriving daily at Williamson, This means Williamson Buick GMC is sure to have the new Buick you're looking for. Encores, Envisions, Enclaves, and more. Get the most out of the South Florida lifestyle and experience the new Buick from your premier Buick dealership, Williamson Buick GMC, located on US 1 just south of the Palmetto. Williamson is Miami.
Tests are a necessary part of life. They evaluate our ability to handle the things life throws at us. Our floors go through tests too. Pets, kids, spills, scratches, you name it, our floors deal with it. That's where LifeProof flooring comes in. Available in a wide variety of colors and styles for all areas of your home. Whether it's premium pet-proof carpet, waterproof and scratch-resistant vinyl plank, or even outdoor turf, all LifeProof flooring is designed to endure life's toughest tests. Available at the Home Depot. How doers get more done.
Hey, did you know the Statue of Liberty is the largest holiday gift ever given? That's a big deal, just like those at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Hey, did you know when the year ends, so do the deals? It's your journey. Own every mile at the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Get 0% APR for 60 months, plus 0 payments for 90 days, or $2,500 bonus cash on the Hyundai Tucson. Now, during the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Offer ends January 2nd. Call 562-314-4603 for details.
Want to listen to us anywhere, live or on demand? Just download the free Odyssey app and make WQAM your favorite station. And there we are, 24/7.
Game Day Uncensored continues on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. We'll take you up until this 1 o'clock kickoff. We were just talking about this during the break. We were watching ESPN's coverage on mute. And surprising this is a 1 o'clock game. This does feel like, not that I'm complaining, I'm as much as I love a primetime matchup every now and then, I'll take a 1 o'clock in this and everything being done by 5 today.
Yeah,
I'm good with that.
I kind of like my life to be enjoyable in the
For
afternoon.
Sure.
So I appreciate you.
But it is surprising. Like all the stuff that's on the line for this one.
Yeah.
2 MVP candidates, 2 teams that people love talking about, 2 quarterbacks teams that the nation loves talking about. I'm surprised this didn't bump Sunday Night Football with I guess a classic rivalry in Vikings and Packers, but I mean
what's the stakes of that game?
Yeah, no, I mean
nothing.
Who's gonna maybe stay alive in the wild card?
You know what it is? I think these networks kind of said to themselves, like, hey, nobody's going to be watching a Sunday night game on New Year's Eve.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Let's
There's a game at 8:20 tonight, though. Like, there's a Sunday night football game on New Year's Eve tonight.
Yeah.
Who the hell wants to be in a stadium on I don't know, maybe
football fans, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, there's not much to do in Green Bay. Is it in Green Bay or is it Minnesota? Where is this game?
Doesn't either way. I mean,
Minnesota.
It's evergreen statement for both of those places. I mean, there's not much to do in either place.
I found Minnesota nightlife a little bit more interesting and intriguing than Green Bay. Appleton kind of sucks.
You go to the mall?
Yeah. I'll go to the mall. Yeah.
Exactly, dude. It's not like they had one of the famous boat parties of all time.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was in Minnesota, but it was with Minnesota Vikings.
I believe it was in Minnesota.
There you go.
With the lake.
There you go. So you gotta make your own fun. That's how it's gotta be.
Yeah. You import them in.
So the word this morning, if you guys are just tuning in, Raheem Mostert is out. That is a big blow to the Miami Dolphins. We didn't talk as much, but Jalen Waddle's also out. Omar, surprised, not surprised that Jalen Waddle he's been going through it this year for sure with a lot of stuff. So
still a 1,000-yard receiver, but he's been battling a ton of things. Emotionally, he'd been battling a ton of things as well. Trying to sort of come to terms with where he is as the Robin to Tyreek's Batman and sort of taking even more of a backseat to him in the offense. He'd had a great season. No, not really. I'm lying. He'd had a respectable season, 1,000 yards, but that ankle injury, the high ankle, had him in a walking boot all week. He's walking without it now, but he didn't practice, and I think the team had to shift their focus on getting him healthy and ready for the playoffs because as we know, we might be able to endure without Jalen Waddle for the final 2 weeks of the season, but you're not winning playoff games if he's not on the field helping you.
Yeah, and you hate to have this mentality, but it is one of those things where, like, if they don't win, you got to put all the chips into next week. Like it's like next week is a DEFCON, whatever the worst one is. If you don't win this game and the Bills win and the division's actually on the line, so
division's on the line. Home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah,
is on the line.
You don't want to take it as a house money game because it's not. Like, you could still put yourself in the path, everything there, but if you're gonna put it to where Jalen Waddle can get hurt worse, but you could have him not 100% next week, but better or more viable next week, you got to make that choice. I think that's kind of it. And they've played this game all year. It's all been about the elimination games and the games that are the most critical. This is about as big as it gets
today.
But
you're talking today,
yeah.
But yeah, depending on what happens today, tomorrow is. I mean,
there's still a safety net, like of some sorts. So it's a tough choice to make. Obviously, going into this game, people are going to look at what Lamar Jackson and the Ravens did last week to everybody's darling, the 49ers. They embarrassed them. They embarrassed the 49ers.
Sent a message. Warning shot.
They were told by national pundits that they were going to get the dog bleep beat out of them. Lamar Jackson did not like that. He took that very, very personally. He was keeping receipts. A couple taxmen at quarterback this week. There's a couple receipt takers with Lamar
CPAs.
And yeah. But here was Mike McDaniel earlier in the week. He was asked about the idea: are the Dolphins too cute for this game?
One of the debate show narratives for the week will be that the Ravens are tough and physical and smash mouth, and the Dolphins are fast and smart. And someone said cute basketball and grass. So can you talk about the importance?
Were they talking about me?
Yeah, well, yeah. Cute basketball and grass.
Yeah, I get cute a lot.
What do you think about all that?
I mean, there's always going to be something that you have to prove. It is kind of odd, though. I feel like, I haven't checked lately, but I feel like we're pretty good at stopping the run and running the football. That's generally not associated with cuteness. Whatever. I mean, there's always going to be something. We talked about it all the way back in Germany. Like if we didn't beat the Chiefs, know exactly the narrative is going to be. Why would you expect anything else? You're a young team that does have athletic, fast players. Well, until whoever's talking about it, if it's an opposing team, you have the opportunity to prove otherwise on Sunday. So, I don't harbor any resentment. Clearly I'm the toughest guy in the room. So that was a misassociation.
So there you go. Mike McDaniel shedding the doesn't buy into the it probably could have been just he could have summed it all in, that could have probably just been his answer to all of that. But
a Mike McDaniel answer would have been, so you think I'm cute? Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But do you think that's the stats dictate the Dolphins are pretty well rounded, Omar. They've done well in all of this stuff, but I think it's probably just your two best weapons, one of them not playing, are little fast receivers, and I think that's kind of just the label everybody gives them.
Oh man. I do this fight all the time and all season with my podcast partner, Alan Poupard on alldolphins.com. I despise that people put them as a finesse team just because they're creative, they're innovative, they're fast. And just like Mike McDaniel said, I mean, the Dolphins, I think they're fourth in rushing yards this week because they've kind of had 2 down weeks running the ball, but they've spent most of the year as the number 1 rushing team in the NFL. They've spent most of the year averaging 5 yards per carry in the NFL. They're a number 5 defense. They're second in sacks in the NFL, only behind the Ravens. They are one of the stingiest teams, top 5 in terms of stopping the run. Their offensive line is one of the top 3 units in the NFL, despite playing 11 different starting combinations, which is 1 short of the NFL's high of the Jets, who, as you know, is a crap show because of their quarterback and their offensive line situation.
Sorry, Vlad.
Yeah. So sorry, Vlad. So we can run the ball, we can stop the run, we can pressure the quarterback. We play a physical brand of football. We finished off games choking out the clock.
Yep.
With your 4-minute and 8-minute offense, just absolutely just choking the game out. Jeff Wilson did it last week against the Cowboys. Dak can sit there and wait all he wants for another possession, but it ain't happening because it's choke out the clock. So this whole finesse thing, yeah, it's a little bit disrespectful because I think they're a good team. They're not a finesse team. They're a well-rounded team.
Yeah, they're a well-rounded
They're not a cute team. Now, okay, the Baltimore Ravens with John Harbaugh, they got a style. They are, and I've called them this for years, they are the Debo of the NFL. They will come up and they will take your bike. And what are you going to do about it? They'll snatch your chain. A Debo reference to the Friday character in the movie. They are the bullies of the NFL. That's just the style that they play. And it doesn't matter what players are on their team. They want your bike. And what are you going to say about it? It's not your bike anymore. So they're going to punch first. The question is, are you going to counter?
I love that Omar sneaked in the explanation of the movie reference. He's sitting next to a couple of white guys here.
It wasn't for you. It was for my audience. I know both of you
you
have seen Friday. Probably all 4 versions of it.
Not all 4 versions of it.
Okay, that was a test because there's only 3.
Not all. I definitely haven't, but I have. But yes, the first one. Even still, Omar, I do appreciate the explanation. But does it bother you, Solana? That's still a thing. I honestly think it's really for one reason and one reason alone. I think it's because Tyreek Hill is never around anybody when he gets the football. So I think people just think of the Dolphins nationally. We talk about this national broad sense that they have, and which is the people are kind of hopping on that train. Some have been on it for a while, like Jet Up and Greeny and all that. But you're seeing with Colin Cowherd, he's starting to poke his beak into the Dolphins business a little bit more.
Yeah.
He ain't been watching them, and he goes, "Oh, fake Gucci. They're not a team that really presents any challenge. They don't have that
fake Gucci." I know.
Gucci.
Can you be a little bit more insulting?
It was ridiculous.
Yeah, and it takes a shot at the coach too, because he's all about the name brands.
Sure.
Yeah,
it was. Let's be 100% honest. It was a perfectly executed troll. It was.
Yeah,
but he's gotten on that. He's back. He's back at the well because he's like, oh, this is getting a reaction
for
from
sure.
the Dolphins.
It was a perfectly executed troll. He did his research to troll this team.
Fake Gucci,
knowing exactly what would
you get under my skin, right? If you're
fire.
Mike McDaniel, you're like, you just call me fake and my team fake Gucci. This Gucci real.
And the players don't like it. Was it Robert Jones who told him to just shut the hell up?
I think it was
Raekwon
Davis.
Raekwon Davis. Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill called him a thug.
But that confused me a little bit. I was just like, is he a media thug or
yeah, he's a microphone thug.
That's a little bit better.
Yeah. What else do we expect? I've been watching all season long media not actually pay attention to this team. Literally not pay attention to this team. Now actually watch this team. And they've just made up their own conclusions about the Dolphins.
Right.
But Tobin, I sit back and I say, with the Philadelphia 76ers, right? Just to take it to basketball really quickly. No matter how great Joel Embiid plays, what's your take on the Sixers?
Never going to do it.
They're going to lose in the second round, right?
Well, I have a lot of evidence.
Correct. Ton of evidence. So I try to apply, what do they say, Omar? Keep that same energy. I kind of apply it to how people outside of South Florida who aren't watching this team day in and day out to realize that this team is different. They're looking at this and saying exactly what Cowherd said. You're telling me I'm supposed to buy into a team that for 2+ decades has done the same thing every time they get to this point, which is totally poop themselves. Right? So I get it. I understand. I understand the outside perspective, which is Dolphins, prove it to me. Show me, prove it to me. And they're not actually watching this team to know that, they're different because they just have it made up in their minds. Yeah, Dolphins will Dolphin.
But I'd love to know nationally, if you're not watching the team, why? They're the most fun team in the league
to
watch. It's
just nothing but
argument.
It's
nothing but bombs. But you're right. It's a very easy team nationally to go and have your takes on because you could just do CBS Radio, is Tua a franchise quarterback?
Right.
No, dinks and ducks and small passes. And you could probably just go and people would believe you. Like it was like when Stephen A got called out for the whole Tyreek Hill thing because it was like, oh, it's nothing but 2-yard passes. And they're literally showing nothing but bombs to him on the highlights.
And here's my favorite part. So you watch First Take and Stephen A. Smith is telling you all he does is throw 2-yard outs. And, anybody can do that. Mac Jones can do that. And then you watch NFL Primetime, which is an NFL-focused show. And Chris Berman, up until week 14, is saying Tua's good at the deep passes. He's good at the short passes. It's those intermediate routes. Once he figures those out, that team's going to be great. And you're
Chris
sitting there,
Berman's
you're saying,
still on the air?
yeah. And you're sitting there and you're going, Chris Berman, I mean, I love you, but what are you talking about? Like the intermediate routes that's his
route. Yeah.
Like that's his route. So nobody's actually watching this team. Like nobody's watching this team.
Vlad's telling me that Chris Berman's on ESPN Plus. Do you think Chris Berman even knows how to get into ESPN Plus?
I watch NFL Primetime every single Monday.
You do?
I don't know why.
Idea why.
I don't know why, but every time I hear Chris Berman go, the Raiders,
back to childhood.
It does something to me. It does something to me. But there was one game this year, Tobin, where the Dolphins could have proven to everybody, and this narrative would not be peddled nonstop that they're not a finesse team. It was that game in Buffalo, and they got their absolute mouths knocked into them.
That
and
was
after
so
that
early
game,
ago.
agreed. I'm not telling you I agree with that narrative, but after that game, everybody saw the highlight and went, yeah, this Dolphins team got their jaws rocked by Buffalo. They're soft.
True.
That's it. That's it.
And it didn't factor in all the factors of why they got
correct.
their jaw
and
rocked.
After that game, everybody who paid attention to this division said, yeah, Buffalo, more physical team than Miami. Boom. And their minds were made up. And they just haven't paid attention enough to realize that it's not factual. It's not the case. But hey, it's the easy take to have because they're not paying attention.
It's a wrong take.
Well, I mean, you got to prove it, though. You got to prove it's the wrong take because for the first time all season, you stepped up to the plate and handled business against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And now you have an opportunity to do it again against the Ravens.
Who nobody believed in a week ago because
I don't know if nobody believed in them.
Nobody thought they were going to beat the 49ers. Everybody thought the 49ers were going to drag them. It's part of the reason why Lamar Jackson this week didn't like the idea that reporters were bringing up to him. Well, what do you think it's like now being the chase,
the hunted? Yeah.
And he goes, "We're the underdogs," and he's like, "What?"
No.
He goes, "No, we're the underdogs." And like, "No, you're not.
Yeah, no,
you're not the underdogs. Everyone now believes in you. You're the team." And so it's going to be interesting how they handle that mantle because it doesn't sound like it's a mantle Lamar Jackson. He likes being chip on shoulder team. Most I think athletes do. They like everybody doubts me.
Yes.
It's like, it's kind of like when LeBron will ever bring up stuff like that. You're like, people count me out. It's like,
it's the biggest and dumbest cliche in sports. Nobody believed in us. Hey, Golden State Warriors with Durant. Everybody thought you were going to win the championship. Right. Everybody believed in you. They just wanted to see you fail. Totally different.
Well, I think it's with Lamar. I think it's actually genuine because a lot of people didn't believe that he was going to do this, but now he's in a position. Well, now everybody believes you're the guy, and he's not going to like that
until he's not. By the way, because people are waiting for Lamar to have a misstep so they can go see.
Yeah.
See.
Oh,
This
is a take Molotov cocktail game because whoever comes out, it's like, oh, great, because we can go either way on both of these quarterbacks. They're so excited about it.
There haven't been this many Molotovs ready to set off since 1944.
It's funny. Yeah. Tua's going into this game, and I do believe that Tua has that it factor, and we haven't seen it yet, but it's there. It's permeating. It's growing, and he's going to need to show it in this game, especially without Waddle, without Mostert, with an injury-decimated offensive line. He's going to have to put the team on his back and figure out what weapons he has and make the most of it. And that's what elite quarterbacks do, and that's where the bar is. And if he wants to be the quarterback that everybody not everybody, that a lot of people thinks that he can be, that certainly Tuanon thinks that he can be, this is his moment. This is his game.
We'll take a quick break here on Gameday Uncensored. Speaking of those two QBs, they both share a lot of respect for each other going into this one. We'll hear from Lamar and Tua on this week's matchup coming on up. Gameday Uncensored back after this.
Brian Rankin here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. It's a New Year's Eve special.
here on 560 WQAM. Tobin, Omar Kelly, Solana getting you ready for Dolphins and Ravens. 1 o'clock kickoff from Baltimore.
Who's on the call? Are we getting our guy?
Nah,
Harlan?
it's Iron Eagle and,
right.
and
Charles
Charles Davis,
Davis.
Leroy Horde's boy.
All right,
love
I like
Charles
that
Davis.
though.
Wait a minute. Don't put it on just Leroy. Everybody loves Charles Davis.
No, well, Omar, here's the funny. I'll give you a little insight. We've been having a bit on this show. Do you have the clip, Vlad? Could you find that really quick? Do you know that Leroy Horde had a record for longest third down conversion? It was a 3rd and 37.
Oh,
Leroy Horde converted it.
okay.
This is on the Minnesota Vikings. Obviously, Leroy would fill in a lot of times for the oft injured Robert Smith. So we have on the show for like years been dogging Charles Davis because he had this call of Leroy Horde, and he goes, listen, I'm going to tell you, that's a great run there by Leroy Horde converting that. But if that's Robert Smith, it's going 6.
Oh, wow.
And I was like,
wow.
He just converted a 3rd and 37. Why are you saying that, Charles Davis? Do you have it, Vlad?
And I'm going to be nice about it. That's a great run by Leroy Horde like he's had before. But if that's Robert Smith, it's 6 points for the Minnesota Vikings, most likely.
So,
wow,
we've been
shade.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, that is so good. I'm gonna be nice about it.
I'm having lifetime beef with you.
Right.
What
So
part?
we've been harboring this beef with Charles Davis. So Leroy does this, he'll do a hit on Cleveland every single week. Somehow Charles Davis got mentioned. And I guess either the producers or the coach goes, Charles Davis is my friend. I'm gonna tell him about this. And so Charles Davis and Leroy link up and they're like, he goes, hey man, that's not me. He goes, I didn't start working for Fox until whatever year it was, 2006 or something.
Yeah,
like
that didn't sound like Charles Davis.
And we've been thinking, we've been thinking forever this is Charles Davis. He goes, you know who it is? It's Ron Pitts. He goes, what?
Yeah.
So we've been just dogging Charles Davis the entire time.
So hold on. Leroy has fake beef with Charles Davis,
Right.
and it's not Charles Davis.
Nope. This entire time
He's
it's been Ron
innocent.
Pitts.
I heard the sound, and I was like, wait a minute, that's not Charles Davis. Did Charles Davis have a younger voice back then?
Charles Davis. It was not Charles Davis. It was Ron Pitts. Come to find out, we had Charles Davis on the show like 2-3 weeks ago. We had him on. He's dying about this because apparently this is not the first time that him and Ron Pitts have been confused. And in fact, we had almost a Severino Todd Hollinsworth situation where they did games together at one point where Ron Pitts moved to play-by-play. Nobody could tell them apart.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody could tell them apart because they sounded so alike. So
well, next time, tell Leroy, check his beefs, verify his beef.
we did.
That is
yeah.
that is the greatest story I've ever heard in my effing life.
It was amazing.
For years,
Yeah,
you guys,
I mean-
because I even knew about that. You guys will just anytime Charles Davis gets brought up, I mean, this show would just dog him,
Yeah.
dog him.
It wasn't a nice thing to say. It was just not him. It was
I mean,
Ron, it was
and I
Ron
can
Pitts.
understand you got beef against somebody who one of your greatest accomplishments, they basically pooed on it.
Right.
Well, it's
yeah.
not
They're
just
mean-
that. It's not just that. Like I could do 4 hours on just that clip because he goes, "I'm gonna be nice about it."
What-
Hey, this
yeah.
guy's fat. Like, what?
Let me be nice about this. I know that he just did something very improbable, but you know what? It would have made it better if he did something even more improbable if he was another person. Jeez. All right, Ron Pitts. So anyway, our beef is with Ron Pitts. But yes, it's Iron Eagle, Charles Davis on the call today. No Kevin Harlan, who was on the call for the last Dolphins-Ravens game, which was amazing. That was like that game was like it was an experience. That wasn't even just a game. I think Dolphin fans were in a shock system with that game because of the comeback, because of the way they came back with the bombs. Like you didn't even know what to do with your hands. It was that kind of performance from Tua and Tyreek.
Can I admit something to you guys? But I want like a clause here. You can't hold this against me. Okay,
right.
everybody,
We'll see.
everybody, you can't hold this against me. So halftime of that game. Remember, Dolphins didn't look good in the first half. They give up the opening kickoff.
Yep.
Lamar runs it right down their throat for like 70 yards.
Yep. He was amazing.
Tua is, iffy in the first half. He didn't have a good first half. And I remember texting my buddies, guys, I'm sorry, but Uno ain't it.
What?
Mm-hmm.
You said that?
At halftime of the game.
I mean, it's year 3 of the start. Of this
Uno,
starting.
Uno ain't it.
Okay.
I remember I have trauma from the Tennessee game year prior. And
Okay, yes.
Right.
That was Tennessee, yes.
And then by the end of that game, I'm there. I'm in the stadium. By the end of that game, I mean, I'm trying to make out with Joe Rose, basically. I mean, I ordered my Tua Tagovailoa jersey at the end of that game. That was
469 yards.
That was the greatest.
He ain't it.
That was the greatest single individual passing performance I've ever witnessed in my life.
And then the year before that, he has Thumbgate, where I don't know, he's infamously ruled out of the game by Brian Flores, who was secretly running a coup against him.
Oh, you're talking about the Baltimore game,
Yeah,
right?
Baltimore game. Yeah.
I remember that specifically because the Dolphins were at a point nobody was talking about them. All anybody talked. This is very rare for a road opponent. All of the headlines that week, locally, nationally, were about Lamar Jackson coming home. And remember, he hadn't signed his contract yet. It was a little bit batting our eyes at Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
There was a lot of that going into that game.
And I remember like having a private conversation. I've never shared this before with a player who is literally sitting there trying to convince me that Jacoby Brissett is better than Tua. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Like there's no way that Jacoby's better than Tua. That's what the coaches are trying to like sell to the team. And Tua has been, he's not playing because of this thumb injury, but he's going to be active. And then Tua goes golfing before the game, which happens to be a night game. And literally people are losing their crap because, the commitment he has to the game. Where is it? He's golfing too much. And
Omar, could you imagine if Tua bought all those guys golf simulators 2 years ago? I mean, Twitter would be melting.
And then he gets into the game because Brissett is injured. And say whatever you want, but he wins the game.
He won the game.
Yeah, he does enough to help the team win the game. And yes, defense had a great performance, but man, oh man.
And Baltimore came in that week like on a tear. And I remember thinking
6-2.
Thursday night football, Dolphins just look,
that's what.
And I remember thinking, oh my God, the Ravens are going to score 100 on us like they did in the playoffs those 2 years. And the Dolphins played their asses off that game.
I remember like this distinctly everything being about Lamar coming into that week. Everybody was the homecoming. I think the ESPN headline was Homecoming King. Like it was
Homecoming King. Oh my gosh, Homecoming. That's a phenomenal headline.
It was.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it didn't work out for him. They put up 10 points.
And he kept flirting with Miami on Instagram.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, I gotta tell you, I love Lamar Jackson. I have been very strong on I'm not dealing with any quarterback rumors on Tua. I wasn't in on Tom Brady. I hate Tom Brady. I was never in on Tom Brady. Deshaun Watson, obviously, I didn't with the Deshaun Watson, all the stuff in the Lamar Jackson. I would have had a cup of coffee. I would have talked about it.
I'm glad he's admitting
Lamar Jackson.
You'd have went on the boat for Tom Brady. Unlike Brian Flores. You would have went on the boat.
No shot.
I hate Tom Brady.
No shot.
My son asked me about Tom Brady last night. He goes, Dad, who's this Tom Brady? I said, he's a cheat. Most people say, oh, he's the GOAT. Not me.
So he deflated the balls, right?
Yep.
Okay.
What?
Yeah.
Omar, that's a fact. That's based on evidence.
That's how I'm parenting, dude. That's how I'm telling him.
This guy had a needle in his pocket at all times to deflate the footballs.
Probably a needle somewhere else too.
Pocket in the jersey.
Played till 45. You guys think that was natural? Oh, I didn't have a strawberry.
I mean, look at his face. I mean, that face has seen a lot of needles. Brother.
Anyway,
trust me.
Wow.
By the way, I'm very glad Tobin admitted that truth on Lamar.
I don't know if I would have said yes, but I would have gone on we would have gone on a date.
Because you just dismissed the people batting their eyes at Lamar Jackson. I distinctly remember a couple conversations prior to him signing his contract. All of us here in South Florida, at least having the conversation.
Nah, not me, but I thought teams were crazy not to be courting him. And Atlanta, like, what are you doing? Carolina, what are you doing? Like, you're going with a young rookie. You're trading up for the number 1 pick instead of giving up draft picks for Lamar Jackson, all because you're scared to offer him a contract that the Ravens wouldn't give him.
Yeah, there's no out of all of the rumors, there's no way hometown kid, MVP in his prime.
Yeah,
he's come on, that's the only guy. But hey. It's worked out right now for both of them. They're both in great spots. Here's Tua. This was Tua earlier in the week. Was asked about the MVP battle. Doesn't give a rat's ass about that, but says he does have a lot of respect for Lamar Jackson.
Oh, I could care less about that. I got a lot of respect for Lamar. The things that
he's done throughout his career. I can vividly remember when I was in college. I think he was in the NFL. And he reached out to me, and like told me that I was balling, and I thought that was like one of the coolest things. I think that was the year he won the MVP. But just the amount of respect that I have for him, who he is as a player, and then I've been hearing talks about what people say about him and whatnot, and how he handles himself and how he goes about his business. Very respectable, very commendable, and he's a baller. Like, that's just flat out what he is, and that's what he does. He's a game changer with what he can do in the pocket, throwing the ball deep, on the run, and then he can make you miss with his legs as well. So I got a lot of respect for him.
And the feeling very mutual on the other side of things. Here's Lamar Jackson when told of Tua's comments.
Tua said today that, I guess when he was at Alabama, you reached out to him to talk about, I don't know if it was phone call, DM, whatever.
Yeah, I DM'd Tua.
What do you like? Why did you respect him so much, and what kind of prompted you to do that?
Tua is a phenomenal player, I believe. I seen him. I think it was, I don't know who they were playing, Georgia in the national championship game, when I think they took one quarterback out, put him in. He threw the game-winning touchdown. After that, I was like, bro, he's amazing. I just fell in love with his game then, and like his poise in the games and stuff like that in situations. And I believe he was gonna win Heisman one year. And I DM'd him. I'm like, bro, you need to win Heisman. Like, I voted for you, stuff like that. But his game is great, phenomenal quarterback. He just got to keep doing what he's doing. Just not this week.
There you go. Lamar Jackson earlier in the week. I love that. I love the respect that these guys have for each other. Both guys who have definitely dealt with their fair share of doubters throughout their careers.
And now leading the MVP race, both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Doubters, critics,
haters.
Every quarterback,
Bill Polian thinking one of them should be a wide receiver.
Right. Every
that
quarterback.
was pretty bad.
How about the you guys saw the Alabama quarterback the other day say that Bill O'Brien told him he shouldn't be a wide receiver. He shouldn't be a quarterback. You guys see these comments?
No.
The kid starting, I don't remember his name, for Alabama. It's Lamar Jackson situation. Who is it, Vlad? I'm sorry. He whispered in my ear, but
Yeah.
I can't talk and listen.
It's like Luther Vandross whisper. What is it?
Jalen Milroe.
Okay.
He ripped Bill O'Brien by name. He's like, Bill O'Brien told me I shouldn't even be a quarterback. So, guess who gets the last laugh now? Which everybody just keeps dunking on the Pats. It just makes me so happy. Yeah.
It does make me happy.
But these guys, arguably more than maybe a lot of other guys in the NFL were doubted, right? Like Tua with the injury, after the hip injury. How many people said, this guy's not going to be able to play football anymore? And then after the concussion injury, same thing. And Lamar, I mean...
Well, they both had durability questions coming into this.
Yeah.
Like that, I think that if you had any...
You mean, for career?
Yeah, for career.
Yeah.
For career.
Lamar's never stayed healthy. That's been the biggest knock on him. He's never been able to stay healthy.
Yeah, I mean, and then you had on top of it last year with the contract looming. Was he not playing because he didn't want to mess up his contract? Lamar definitely dealt with adversity last year. Tua, of course, the concussion thing we've talked about a ton, but
yeah.
So I could see why two of these guys. I could see why, not only because they're awesome, but I think that there is that mutual respect there because they've had their own doubts that they've had to go through as well. We'll continue on here as Game Day Uncensored. We'll take you up until kickoff. Lots on the line going into this week. We'll hear from Mike McDaniel on the Dolphins having the possibility of winning their division with a victory today over the Ravens. Back with more after this.
Listening to WCYM for Cat Talk. Baltimore, for a battle that could determine AFC supremacy. But if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And these two teams are the best. Coach McDaniel has spent the week telling his team to focus on today's game only, not to think about anything else.
The main thing that is so terribly difficult for NFL teams to do is down the stretch of the season, narrow your focus to the opponent and nothing else. I know you guys got a little sensitive about tell guys to F off. That wasn't the spirit of it. The spirit of it is occupying your mind with things that are outside what you can control. The ultimate outcome of the game will determine whatever, but every time you're spending doing this, you're not doing that.
Tua is not looking ahead, but he sure remembers last year's game with the Ravens.
I would say what I remember from that game was it was a hard-fought game. Our team last year, we were able to not let the win or not let the score dictate how we wanted to finish or how we wanted to continue to play that game. Obviously, the result was a win.
Linebacker Bradley Chubb has one thing on his mind today.
For sure, man. This is what it's all about, and just being in big moments with a good team, two great teams that's going at it. This is what you live for. This is what you work so hard in the offseason for. And at the end of the day, this is not the end goal, you know what I mean? So we still got a lot to do and a lot to prove. So this is just a one step in that right direction.
Will injuries be the Dolphins' biggest test, or will it be Lamar Jackson or the Ravens' defense? Hey, it's time to figure it all out. It's Game Day Uncensored. Tobin, Solana, Omar. The pregame show for real Miami football fans on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on Game Day. Pour me in, Coach. Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC is a proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here, 560 WQAM. Tobin, Omar Kelly, and Alejandro Solana getting you ready for Dolphins Ravens Week 17 of the season after a Christmas Eve thriller win over the Dallas Cowboys. Haven't talked too much. We got to get back into that game a little bit. We haven't talked too much about that win, but it was a thrill. Not a great game day experience for me, boys. Watching it at an in-laws house, not fantastic.
Yeah, I was in the same boat, Tobin.
Oh my God, it was bad.
And they don't like, my in-laws don't know football. They don't watch football. They're from Colombia. Like it's soccer in that house.
Yeah, they think it's a waste of time.
So like they don't get it.
Football.
They don't get it. So I'm literally watching this on my phone.
No. Oh, hold on. Wait a minute. You couldn't even get a spare bedroom?
I could, but everybody's in the living room. They don't have their TV is in like the bar area.
I mean, but you're a professional. This is kind of important for you.
I'm on my phone, and my guy Jason Sanders never doubted him.
Oh yeah. Thank you for reminding me. I put out a tweet just for you, basically that said, especially if his first kick a career long, like if he makes this, I was like, you can't say anything negative about him anymore. And that was directed to you, Solana. And then he makes 4 more.
I never thought that fat cat could do it. And by the way, I thought it was all setting up for us to be like, oh, he breaks a record for most 50-yarders and then him lose the game winner.
Yeah.
Dude, can I tell you the worst thing about there were 2 things that were terrible about watching it on Christmas Eve. That's not in when you ever don't get to watch a game in your environment, it's just a little different. You go over to the in-laws house. I think to myself, who doesn't get Fox? It's Fox.
Wait a minute. They didn't get Fox?
They didn't have Fox. Omar, they had to go to like some pirate stream that my brother-in-law put together to get Fox. I'm like, get rabbit ears. It comes in for free. How do you not get you have this beautiful television, you don't get Fox? So it took I was watching on my phone up until I had no idea about the fumble early on. I was listening to Jimmy and Joe. I roll in. I know that this has been a long drive. I walk in, still scoreless. I walk in, still scoreless. I was like, huh? What happened? So anyway, has to be a whole thing just to even get there, to get to the game. He's got some hieroglyphics up on the screen. Boop. Finally, the game's there. Great. The Dolphins, they were on it was that fourth down stand, right where I think it was Elliott got pass interference. But anyway, right before that snap on fourth down, click, goes off. Look, little niche jumped on the remote. Blank screen. And it's not just like, can turn the TV back on and we're back. No, had to go the hieroglyphics route again to get all the way back there. But this was the worst of all of it. So I'm watching it with 2 Patriot fans, which they can go to hell. Respectfully, as relatives.
Relatives? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
not like close.
This
right?
is what the dude tells me. Could you believe this? Sanders lines up for the kick. So we're watching on Pirates team. It's obviously got some kind of like 90-second to 2-minute delay, you know? This jerk is like, you want to know what happened? I'm like, no. And then after I say no, he goes, you're going to be happy. I'm just
the worst.
Do it.
Worst.
What kind of sports fan are you?
Like,
what kind of sports fan are you?
You know what I do
he
there?
Obviously, was a good enough sports fan to know what happened on Twitter. Like,
you know what I do there? I ruin Christmas. I roundhouse kick the damn Christmas tree. Like, I'm ruining Christmas. If you ruin my Dolphins Cowboys watching experience, I'm ruining Christmas for all of you.
I blame both of you because you should have checked your television experience at your in-laws' house.
What, like Planet prior?
You should have investigated the situation. Like, say to the wife,
I understand.
This is a big game.
Yep.
It's kind of you both are kind of important on radio,
Dude, I've been doing this for years. My wife's like, well, I don't like sports and holidays. I'm like, well, I don't either, but I don't know what to tell you. That's the breaks.
That's what they do.
I'm like, yeah, this lines up every once in a while. Christmas Eve is going to line up on a Sunday. It happens to be the biggest Dolphins game ever. I don't what to tell you. It's huge.
I'm sitting there. I'm watching on my phone, and I'm in shambles. I'm like, oh my god, the game's up to Jason Sanders, right? And there, my father-in-law comes over and he's like, so what happens? This counts as one though, so it's gonna go to overtime. I'm like, no, it's a field goal. It's 3 points. He's like, but I thought the kick is 1 point. I'm like, no, it's a field goal, 3 points. Get out of here. Leave me alone. All right, leave me alone. And then I'm sitting there. I'm like on the floor. I'm just watching. And then he makes it, and I'm running around the house, and they think I'm on drugs.
Yeah, I had no faith he was going to hit that kick, Omar. No faith that he was going to hit that.
The four previously just made you. Yeah,
didn't matter.
See?
I was
look at the disrespect Jason Sanders.
Mike McDaniel said on Hard Knocks, I don't like kicking. Like, do you think he would love it
because he wants points?
If he trusted his kicker, I think he'd do it a lot more.
No, kickers aren't necessary. Mike McDaniel's, I'm going to score 7 every time. That's why I go for it on 4th and 5.
People were so mad at him for going for it.
I was like, this is the wrong decision, but this is the Mike McDaniel decision. And he will give you some statistical analysis about the percentage of success for that play. Now, the biggest issue to me is Hard Knocks showed that Tua basically talked him into it. And then obviously, he's going to Tua what you like on this play. For Tua to have selected a fade, come on, man.
Yeah, no.
Like, have we not done this enough?
About this in the meeting, Tua.
Yeah, have we not done this enough to know that it doesn't work?
It's almost like they're like, what play could we run here to piss everybody off?
And the sad thing is, I watched in training camp them throw fades, and Tua is very good at it. It's a phenomenal play for Tua. But now defenses know that's what you're doing, so they're going to take it away from you. You think, and somebody needs to come up with and figure out what is the counter play to fake the fade and then throw it.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because it hasn't worked since week 1.
Yeah,
enough already with the fade.
What about McDaniel when Sanders is stepping up? He takes off his headset. He's like, he's gonna make it. He's gonna make it. There's no way McDaniel actually thought Jason Sanders was gonna make that kick.
Oh, absolutely.
No, I think he believes in Sanders. I don't believe in Sanders. He's not scarred by Sanders.
Not
Mike is a believer in everything and everyone. Mike, I am, you guys know me. I'm a glass half empty kind of guy. This is, that's just the reality. I live in a realist world. So I give you the reality and prepare you for the worst so that at least if you get better than the worst, you'll be thankful.
Yeah.
Mike McDaniel's positivity has filtered through my life, and it's like poison. It's like a poison of positivity.
It's like an IV. You got like an IV drip of just Mike McDaniel positive juice.
Like and now the more I deal with him and interact with him and cover his team, the more positivity I think. And I'm like, boy, this positivity thing is kind of contagious, isn't it?
You probably have to listen to a coach talk more than anybody in a week your entire life.
Oh my God, yeah.
Do you feel like this happened a lot? Like, do you feel like Philbin juice got on you? Like, you were just like, am I going at life like Philbin?
Yeah, no, hell no. Philbin didn't know. I mean, I've covered a lot of coaches.
I know.
I have never dealt with anybody as positive as Mike McDaniel.
Did you feel more grumpy when Flores was around?
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you think he's a glass half empty kind of guy?
I was glass half empty before Flores.
Philbin,
I can't blame him.
You had to go Philbin, Gase.
No, I got to go Cam Cameron, Tony Sperano,
but Cameron,
Joe
Philbin. You were
Adam
just a glass
Gase,
empty guy.
Brian Flores. Yeah.
And now you've been McHypnotized. I mean,
Yeah.
totally McHypnotized.
I like it.
It's just like, you're right. It's like an IV drip of positivity. Like, no matter what. Remember when Mike McDaniel said, who's going to be out there with your starting offensive line? He's like, I don't know. Like, yeah, even that came out as like a positive. Like, I don't know. We'll figure it out. Yeah, we'll figure it out. Like, and he's right. They did. And I'm not saying that this guy is like sprinkling magic pixie dust on everything, but he's like, no Raheem Mostert, even though I said all week that, try stopping him from playing. Well, I'm stopping him from playing. And you know what? We'll figure it out. Jeff Wilson,
I think they will figure it out.
Yeah.
I believe in him. It's hard not to.
No Jalen Waddle. Somebody will step up. We'll figure it out.
I do like that though. Like when he goes and he has the talks, like he did that with Duke Riley on Hard Knocks. When Duke Riley takes over, he's like, you got to be firing everybody up. I'm like, oh, he goes, it's just like my life. I'm like, I love this guy. And there you go, Duke Riley. What's he doing? He's firing everybody up on the sidelines. With that Aquaman hair, he's got it going on.
Saw Tua steal his hair product this week.
Oh,
really?
Yeah,
I would steal his hair product too.
Well, what's he using? Like Head and Shoulders?
He uses the girl who's Diana Ross's daughter, her product. Damn, I remembered it yesterday.
Again, you're talking to two white guys over here.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm sorry. But yeah, it's Tua's hair is glorious looking right now. Yeah.
We'll take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored and hear a little bit from Fangs as we're going into this one. What does Fangs have to say about Lamar Jackson and how the Dolphins plan to stop him? Get to that coming up next.
You're listening to the exclusive home of Miami
Game Day Uncensored continues on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here on 560 WQAM. Tobin here with you alongside Solana. Omar Kelly getting you ready for Dolphins and Ravens. Let's get to our player to watch, which is brought to us by Lexus. 'Tis the season to work your magic. The Lexus December to Remember sales event is here, but only for a limited time now through January 2nd. So we only got a few days left, man. Make it a December to remember. Lamar Jackson, he's been awesome this year. Really, really good season from the Ravens quarterback. 3,357 yards, 19 touchdowns, 7 picks. He's rushed for almost 800 yards and 5 touchdowns as well. He is tough. As Vic Fangio says, he is in a class by himself.
Yeah, he's fair share of mobile quarterbacks, yes. Then there's Lamar Jackson. You know, he's unlike anybody else. The only other player that's been like him in the last 50 years is Michael Vick. And he's a tremendous player. You know, kudos to Ozzie and Eric for picking him. You know, 31 other teams that passed him by, you know, are kicking themselves. He's really improved over the years. He's dynamic with the ball, good passer. You know, he makes their offense go.
Hey, Fangs, lots of respect from old Fangs.
Man, Lamar has a 57-19 record as an NFL starter.
Yep.
These, you know,
same as Tom Brady, by the way, through the same amount of games, or better than Tom Brady, actually.
Yeah, he's going to be tough to stop. That's always that's always got to be the challenge going into this one. You know, as we know, that's different personnel, different coaches, but the Dolphins have won their last couple against him. But he is, you know, that was a crazy comeback. I mean, it's that the Dolphins had the last time around. That's like a once in a lifetime type of comeback that the Dolphins had the last time. So you don't want to put yourself in that kind of a hole, obviously, again, with this team, especially with how good they are running with the football. But do you think that there's any kind of key to this, Omar? Is there a guy who you're looking at and is just like, that's got to be a little bit more of a step up against Lamar?
Yeah, it's got to be Javon Holland. I think this is why you're going to see him make his return to the game this week. He's been sidelined for a month with those 2 MCL sprains that he's had. I don't think he's 100%, but he's at the point now where he knows his team needs him. Because remember, mid-season, we were talking about Javon Holland being the best safety in the NFL, right? Yep. I didn't necessarily agree with it.
Highest rated, yes, according to PFF.
Yeah.
Baldy loves him.
Yeah. Kyle Hamilton's the best safety in the NFL, which the Dolphins play today. But Javon is no slouch, and I think that you're going to really have to need somebody with speed and a little bit of physicality to kind of shadow Lamar Jackson and sort of make sure if he's scrambling out the pocket that you're containing him. Now, it's easier to cover this team when you're playing zone defense in front of you, which is why the Dolphins should benefit from what they play, but the style that they play. But, you know, when Lamar can hurt you is when Lamar scrambles and takes off running. He's run for 1,000 yards twice in a season. He's generally around 700 to 800 yards. But here's another factor that I didn't realize until today. Throughout his entire career, which began in 2018, Lamar has never played over 1,000 snaps on offense. That means he's generally been hurt at some point. This is the most snaps that he's played in an NFL season, 987. Now, certainly he's worked harder to contain himself and keep himself in the pocket and be a pocket passer and sort of preserve his body. But
not an impossible guy to sack either. He will take some sacks too.
Yeah. But you're preserving your body for stretches like this. So I think that this is the game where Lamar will put his cape on and somebody's going to have to be out there to lay the wood.
Absolutely. Not only look, his last couple against the Dolphins, Holmes watching, dude. Like, there's no way that's not a thing. Like, everybody's tuned into this one. It's not only that it's like oh, I'm taking on a great team in the Dolphins, but that's got to be a little extra juice when everybody is tuning into this game because this is the game they're getting, and it's going to be talked about, and you're going to be buzzed about, and we know and I'm sure he still thinks about what happened in that last game against the Dolphins because people remember stuff like that.
I mean, I think he's bringing it up in his brain now because he's playing the Dolphins and probably using it as motivation, but
because he thinks they're the underdogs.
Yeah, he
wants to believe that they're the underdogs.
Yeah, I mean,
I will say I'm a little surprised the lines. I thought the line was going to be a lot bigger, being only 3.5, 3 points.
I mean, if you really think about it,
short week.
Dolphins are a half-point underdog because home team gets 3 points. So if you really think about it, they're pretty. It's pretty much.
I thought the buzz.
Pick 'em.
Yeah, I thought the buzz after the Ravens when I thought this was going to be at least 5. I really did. I thought it was going to be something like that. So
because it's not like they just went in there and won a close game. Like they
throttled. They
dominated San Francisco on the road, which was the NFL's darlings. Everybody loved Brock Purdy, and then Purdy got benched on his ass on the pine in that game because of how good the Ravens looked.
Mm-hmm.
Here's a little bit more from Fangs on should they keep a spy on Lamar and the risk of that.
The pure definition of a great quarterback, there's no one way to play him. Because if there was, everybody would do it. So you just have to mix up what you're doing. And, and along the way, they have a hell of a run game. And both from their players' ability, the O-line, tight ends, and the runners, but the scheme of it with Lamar at the helm makes it a difficult task. So there's a lot to prepare for, a lot to defend in this offense.
This is what this is what gets Fangs' juices flowing. Fangs loves a good challenge.
Yeah. Who would be the QB spy? Omar? Like, is it Duke Riley? If the Dolphins were going to spy him,
no, I think Duke Riley would probably be responsible for the linebacker. I don't know who would be the spy, to be honest with you. I just
Van Ginks.
Probably Van Ginkel. But that would mean you probably need Melvin Ingram to be the rusher. Is
Ogba going to be out today? Do we know?
I think he's going to be out. I think Melvin Ingram has already leapfrogged him on the depth chart. Fangs is not a fan of Ingram of Ogba. So, and there's no point in playing favorites at this point. Ogba sat and Ingram played like 20 snaps last game, which Ogba would beg for 20 snaps probably in 5 games.
It is impressive of Ingram just coming off the couch like that because he'll just come in and just be like, I mean, he kind of looked like that last year where he was just like, come out of here. I'll win AFC Defensive Player of the Month.
Yeah, sneaky good last year.
He was
super sneaky
especially
good
at the start of the season.
So Mostert told us all week, Omar, like, I'm good. Or he told us last week after the Cowboys game, I'm good. But he's expected to be out. Ogba's expected to be out. And I know you just said Javon, like, the team needs him.
Yeah.
I mean, I hope the dude plays, but I don't know, man.
I think this is Mike McDaniel kind of hinted that this is a week that he plays. It's funny, you would probably have more inside information than me. You actually talked to Javon. I did talk to Javon as well.
I'm sure he's been super careful since his little diagnosis that he did on their show. Has he given you anything?
Well, he gave us the insight to Christmas Day presents prior to the Hard Knocks revealing it all, which was actually pretty cool. He told us about Dan Marino gifting everybody isotoners as well, which was effing awesome. Best Hard Knocks episode of my life.
It really was. It's been, I love Hard Knocks so much, and it just gets more goosies every single week. But Dan Marino being there for the present exchange,
it was just an Isotona commercial. Let's not be denied. Let's not be
Perfect.
Yeah,
perfect. Yeah, give me more isotoner.
And then Mike White, he's like, I got isotoners for Dan Marino. Like, come on, man.
And then Mike McDaniel telling you, "F you, Dan Marino. We're coming for your effing records."
Yeah,
I loved it.
I loved his explanation of it, which was basically, trying to play it down. But no, you said it. You said it. Own it. Yeah, stick with what you said. Yeah.
But like Javon kept saying, and this was over the radio. Like, it's not like he told me anything privately. He said, but I'm being patient.
Yes,
I'm being patient.
Mm-hmm.
2 MCL sprains, but I'm being patient.
But did he wink at you or anything? Was there any non-verbal language? Like, did he have a twinkle in his eye, like he was ready to go?
You guys know I'm an experienced knee injury guy.
Of course.
You know,
Yes.
I have my knees are equivalent to a 90-year-old who's had 18 knee replacements. And whenever somebody's talking about their knee injury and they keep touching said knees, that to me is a giveaway that they're not confident about said knees.
Oh, it's a tell.
And every time he was talking about his knees, he kept rubbing on them. As if, just to be like, come on, knees. Come on, knees.
Like, let's feel
I
a
hope
little
he
better.
plays, man.
Yeah.
I really do, and I hope he's okay. But I know what McDaniel said. It sounded like, as you just said, Omar, it sounded like he's hopeful that Javon's going to be on the field. And Javon said, I'm hopeful I'm going to be able to be available this
as
week.
As long as he didn't suffer a setback. I mean, what are we doing here? Like, we're Mike McDaniel talked about these elimination games all damn season. Is this not an elimination game?
Yeah. But that's what we talked about last week, right? That's what we talked about last week. All these guys were being held out because of these weeks here.
Yes.
And like, isn't it time for everybody to kind of suit up? But now that you're a lock for the playoffs, like, I understand number 1 seed should be top priority. I'm with everybody, right? Aside from winning your division. But what would you prefer to have? Your best safety or whoever, Waddle, Mostert, some of your best players available for this game or available for the playoffs, no matter what the seeding ends up being? Because I'd rather be 100% healthy going into the playoffs, and as crazy as it sounds, not win the AFC East, even though I think they're going to.
Hold on.
Then
Mike McDaniel's barometer has always been, if I play him, is there a chance that we would suffer a setback that would impact his availability in coming weeks? And here's my thought process on Javon Holland's situation. If you play him this week, he suffers, let's say, a setback or doesn't feel right, you instantly put Brandon Jones in there.
Who's been good.
Let's not exaggerate.
Oh, come on, Omar. He's got 3 interceptions.
He's got nose for the football, dude. You got to acknowledge that.
Two interceptions.
He has 3 interceptions this season. He had 2 in one game, and he recovered the play that ultimately won the Dolphins game. He's been good. Omar, come on. Give Blitzboy a little bit of credit.
We gave Sanders some credit. You give Blitzboy some credit.
All right, Blitzboy has been
And we'll
good.
get to Liam Eichenberg later. All right, Tobin. Don't think we're letting you off the hook. All right, Tobin?
What do you want to say? Like,
You're sorry?
I'm not sorry.
You should be.
Did
2
he
interceptions?
2?
Yeah.
He had 2 in one game.
No, he got one taken off. He got one taken away earlier in the season. Anyway,
Okay.
He's been okay. But here's the thing: you're playing Lamar Jackson with 2 strong safeties back there. Do you feel comfortable with that? Are you all right with that? Does that bring you ease?
Not at all.
Okay. Well, that's why Javon Holland needs to play.
It's just 2 knees.
It is 2 knees.
Because you say if he suffers a setback, like
if he suffers a setback, you sit him against Baltimore. Hopefully, you win the game. You get a first-round bye. See Mike McDaniel. See how Mike McDaniel's positivity impacts me right here. And then you have him for your first playoff game. I don't think sitting him a week after he participated in the week's worth of practice on a limited basis, after sitting out an entire month, didn't have a surgical procedure, you sat out an entire month because of soreness. Why not test him now? And if it's not where you thought it would be or what you hoped it was, scale it back after testing him. But is he not one of your top 10 players, top 5 defenders, or is it?
Sure.
No, he is.
So don't you need that player on the field if your number 4 defense is trying to take down one of the best offenses and one of the best teams in the NFL?
No, I mean, these are the 2 probably the games you would need him the most. I mean, you think about these quarterbacks that you have to face.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But what game, truthfully, is more important? Is my question. I know it.
This one's for the number 1 seed. It doesn't get any bigger.
I
than
know.
that.
I know it. I know
kinda,
it sounds that way. It's easy to say, well, this one's for the number 1 seed, but in reality, like,
this was for the number 1 seed, and you get it, and you get everything that you want.
It's not even just take it away from a number 1 seed. Like, you're going to talk about some serious. Like, you're going to be at home for the playoffs. It's nice that you're in the playoffs. The whole point of it, they got in the playoffs last year.
But you could
doing
lock
something
up
special? Or are you doing something? Are you going to tick off what you did last year? They have the chance right now to lock up the division today and still be alive for the number 1 seed. Like, that's
that's a monster.
It's
about as big as it gets.
But
I
Tobin,
don't think it gets any bigger than that.
at the cost of
the only thing that gets bigger is if they lose, and then there's next week for the division.
No, and that's a consolation prize. It's like you're playing for the bronze medal.
Yeah, that's to avoid embarrassment of, oh my God, the Bills were able to catch you.
But you guys aren't listening to me. I'm not telling you, oh, forget this game. I don't care about the number 1 seed. Obviously, today, in my opinion, is the biggest Dolphins game in 23 years. Really, like
since 2008 when they had the chance to win the AFC playoff
in New York
against New York,
and they went in and they won. But that team didn't have legitimate title aspirations, in my opinion. I don't think they did. This team does. So to me, this is the biggest regular season Dolphins game
you squander
of my lifetime.
The end of the season.
By Baltimore.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
But Omar, I'm not telling you disregard this game. Who cares about it? All I'm saying is if it comes at the cost of potentially more setbacks in the injury department for a guy like a Javon Holland, what would you rather have? For sure, the AFC East, and at least a guarantee that you're going to have 2 home playoff games until the title game, but you're going to be healthier, or potentially try to lock up the number 1 seed with a win today, but it could come at the cost of losing some of your most impactful players. That's all I'm asking.
I'm putting my foot on the gas and riding out.
What if Jalen Ramsey calls you soft? He came back from a brutal knee injury in like 3 weeks.
No, 3 months.
Holland, you took a month off? Come on.
All right, I'm with you. Go out there.
It's time.
But it's 2 MCLs.
Yeah. Oh, now you're throwing in the 2. You're throwing in the deuce.
Yeah, and with Mostert, I mean, he's your second most important weapon. You said put your foot on the gas. Hey, Raheem, go catch some waves today.
I just think,
and what happens? He can't play next week.
But there's a difference in how many guys can legitimately defend Lamar Jackson, and how many guys in this team at running back can Mike McDaniel get open?
Yeah,
and put in position.
Yeah, Brandon,
to score.
tell him.
It's a little different. It's a little different.
Like I'm pushing for Javon primarily because I know what my options are, which is 2 strong safeties that aren't very good at covering Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers and Odell Beckham. Not that he's great anymore, but still he's Odell Beckham.
But second half of the season, he's been much better.
If you gave me 1 game to prepare all week, you knew Raheem Mostert was going to practice. You don't think Mike McDaniel can find a way to get him a hundy and a touchdown?
I mean, he does have Achane with a turf toe injury. So yeah, it's it is what it is. It's Achane, Jeff Wilson, and let's hold on. Let's put some respect on Jeff Wilson's name because he was a 1,000-yard producer last season.
Put you in position in that Cowboys game to win. By the way, literally, like he got you the first downs. He got you the yardage that you needed.
He gave you 16 of 21 of his rushing yards were on that drive. So
he was awesome.
Yeah, and he's been a player who has been chomping at the bit, really angry and disappointed, but silent because he's been a team player.
Strong silent type. I like that.
But he was a 1,000-yard producer in the NFL last season collectively when you put together what he did with the Rams and what he would do with the Dolphins. Yeah. So everybody who's sitting there thinking that this guy's a slouch and he can't handle the workload. I mean, he was supposed to share this workload with Raheem Mostert, and then all of a sudden it became the Raheem and Achane show. So
understandably.
So now he'll get his opportunity, and hopefully Achane will also contribute because he's got that turf toe injury that's kind of limited him this week. We're down to 8.1 yards per carry instead of 12. But I think we'll survive.
We'll take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored, streaming live on YouTube and Twitch, Miami 560 WQAM. Back after this.
You're listening to the exclusive home of Miami
Uncensored here. 560 WQAM. Shout out to everybody joining us via YouTube and Twitch. Greg saying, let's go Fins. Let's clinch that division up one game at a time. Task at hand.
Listen,
task at hand.
This is the stretch, baby. Take care of business.
This is fun, though. Like, that's the thing I think every Dolphin fan has to embrace. Think about how many years, like, usually it's like they're clawing to the playoffs. Will there be a collapse?
Yeah. I mean, last year they limped in. Oh my God!
Thank God we got to play 2022 Flacco and not 2023 Flacco.
Oh my God,
right?
He's amazing. Amazing gunslinger. He's coming out here, falling asleep on the bench. He's so bored with kicking ass.
He did not fall asleep on the bench.
He fell asleep on the bench, dude. That guy is old, and he fell asleep on the bench.
He fell asleep on the bench.
He dozed off. 100%.
He dozed off. Yeah, definitely. Dozed off.
I did not see this. Somebody send this to me on Twitter. Oh my God, what is going on here?
He dozed off. Remember how Remember when Joe Philbin got caught napping at the combine? Same little cat nap for Joe Flacco. Dude, I'm telling you right now, dude.
It was late though. These Thursday night football games.
Yeah,
8:20 start.
I'm old, man.
There was a brutal head injury that kind of delayed the game a little bit as well. So. By the end of the fourth, and Flacco, at that point, that game was donezo. So he took a little nap.
Man, those Browns, boy, they're scary.
They are.
But yeah, let's.
But nobody respects them with Joe Flacco. Like, no, everybody has to think this is going to strike. I keep telling Leroy every week, I'm like, you're going to get Flacco. Like, it's going to happen. But I don't know.
Flacco's won a championship. What are you talking about? Better put some respect on his name.
Yeah. 15 years ago.
It might not have been.
It was like
15,
2013, 2013.
Maybe.
It's been a decade.
Yeah, it's been a decade. It was 2012, 2013. Yeah. 10 years ago, he won a Super Bowl.
Yeah, he did it a decade ago. When's the last time Russell Wilson did it?
Last time,
cheap shot to Russell Wilson.
He's
had a tough week as it is.
He's tough week. He's going to get fully guaranteed contract.
He's sad though.
Yeah, I mean, he did choose. You move your family somewhere and sign that mega contract, and then they want to shake you down and treat you like that, and try to make you undo your contract. That's why you can't trust these people in the NFL.
In a way, it was kind of a genius play by the Broncos, because like maybe Russell Wilson will be prideful enough to change his language. He's like, no football player should ever do that.
Yeah.
No football player should ever do that.
No, absolutely not.
Now he'll go play for like the Colts for the minimum next year.
As cringe as he is, by the way.
Don't do that.
Why?
You don't do the Colts. You act like the Atlanta Falcons can't use a quarterback.
Perfect.
You act like the Minnesota Vikings can't use a quarterback.
That's who I think he's going to. For
Commanders can't use a quarterback.
Oh, Commanders. Yeah, that feels like him and Magic Johnson together. I could see that.
Oh,
a couple of obvious tweets.
Yeah, the two worst tweeters in the history of social media.
Hey, let's ride.
We'll get to some keys to the game here, brought to us by Ed Morse. Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC's entire inventory is on sale, and all backed by Morse. Click Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC.com to start shopping. GMC, we are professional grade. Here is Mike McDaniel, eyes on the prize for him, and he says that you can't let bigger prizes like the division keep you off focus of a good Ravens team. Here's McCochin.
You want to talk about a team that will make you pay if you are outside the lines of what your focus should be. They will fast and furious teach you to regard them. So we have our hands full in that regard, but we're also in a really, really cool moment to be present and enjoy, because we are building on an entire season of work. And then we have this week of prep starting with today. And then we get to go compete against as good as it gets in the National Football League. And that's kind of why you sign up.
Yeah. Well, this is a very exciting opportunity. You're distracted by Joe Flacco sleeping.
I thought you guys were exaggerating.
He's
sleeping.
He's old.
Oh my God, this guy's sleeping during an NFL game. Like,
don't blame him.
After torching the opponent too.
Yeah, like that's like the most disrespectful thing I think I've seen this year.
I know.
Yeah, like he needed a nap after
Little
whipping
nappy
your
poo.
tail.
Yeah, he's exhausted. He's tuckered out. It's tuckered out. Like you hit a certain age, you're just like a toddler. You need your naps.
It's
You
true.
know,
This
you
is the
need
truth.
You need to recharge your batteries a little bit. Joe Flacco
I
needs
can
to
tell you,
recharge.
when I need a nap, my body is shut down. It's like, when that gas light comes on in your car, it's like, yeah, you got this many miles to go. It's like, if it's nap time, it's like I'm shutting everything down and going to take a nap.
Yeah, you need it.
And Joe said the same thing.
Vic Fangio saw that video. He's like, man, I'm
Jealous.
jealous, man.
Why do they? It's like Vic Fangio's like he's probably gonna like throw like a hat over that stupid camera that they have. Man,
Oh
that
man,
goes off.
my goal for Hard Knocks moving forward is there has to be a 7-minute Vic Fangio segment.
I know. Not
like how could you not
does he
get
escape this?
I agree. Like you've got to be in the team. He's got to present to the team at some point.
Because like okay. Tua's like, I don't like Hard Knocks, but there's a Tua segment every week. We get the
100%.
QB room, and I get my share of Tua. Has he just
We've
banned
had
the cameras?
We've had 30 seconds of Vic Fangio.
If that, it was basically 30 seconds of him on camera, just like, yeah, Mike, or something like that.
Yeah,
Rumble.
yeah.
As he does he work in a dungeon? Like our cameras, do cameras not work down there? What is happening?
He probably does not allow cameras in his room.
Can you ask him that next week?
I will ask him.
Can
that.
you ask him next
I
week?
will absolutely
Vic,
ask
why
him.
have you
why
not been
have
on
you
Hard
escaped Hard Knocks?
Yeah.
I will deliver that for you.
And he's just gonna respond, "Don't worry about it."
Yeah. I figured it out.
he's like a cat. He's like a cat, but he's like spray painted the cameras.
Yeah, he's put Vaseline on the camera lens.
He ripped off his mic the second they hooked him up. he just
Yeah,
rips it off.
no. You're not micing. You're not micing him. And if they follow him with cameras, he's probably running away.
Imagine like the young intern producer tasked with putting a microphone on Vic Fangio. Like, you see that old curmudgeon over there? You're gonna put a microphone on him.
Yeah.
Okay. Good luck.
I'll tell you one thing though, McDaniel loves it. I think he loves it.
Omar,
No,
come on,
I don't know.
Come on.
I don't know. We mentioned he doesn't watch it, and we mentioned things to him, and he's like, how do you? Oh, he's like, how do you guys know that? And
How
he's
do
like,
you keep getting fooled by these guys?
I
man?
do. I am not.
You think
No.
McDaniel?
He's a
you
showman. He's
you
a
think
showman.
McDaniel? You think McDaniel?
I showed you that Tyreek Hill clip of him discovering that they qualified for the playoffs, and that was genuine surprise.
Omar,
Admit it.
Omar.
Admit it.
Maybe, but Omar,
Oh, just a maybe.
Omar,
Yes.
you really think Mike McDaniel, when he's yelling at Dan Marino on the sideline,
I'm gonna go for
bleep
the
your records, Dan.
Yeah.
F you, Dan Marino.
But
he
he
doesn't
explained-
know Hard Knocks is gonna pick that up and it's gonna go mega viral.
I think
No.
Of
he's
course.
He does viral. This is a man that does viral things every 5 minutes.
I
Are
know.
you?
Which is exactly
Which
is exactly why he loves
fool.
having a TV show.
No, this is a man
You are
who literally does
hypnotized, man.
viral things every 5
The
minutes.
only person who loves Hard Knocks more than Miami Daniel is Raheem Mostert. That's it. Because Raheem Mostert's like, where do you want to go with me next?
Yeah, my kids. Let's open some Christmas
Yeah,
gifts.
like,
They're like,
Raheem Mostert, the only person
Hey,
who loves it is Raheem
you're a
Mostert.
31-year-old back who's been in the NFL for 9 years. You've been part of 7 NFL teams, and you're finally having a career year, and you think Hard Knocks isn't going to be about me?
Hard Knocks is like, Raheem's like, going to Chipotle later. You guys want to come? I got my own special order. Take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored. We'll hear a little bit from Tyreek Hill, who's got a message for the doubters out there. We'll be back with more after this.
Game Day Uncensored on AM 560 Sports, WQ. see supremacy. But if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. And these two teams are the best. Coach McDaniel has spent the week telling his team to focus on today's game only, not to think about anything else.
The main thing that is so terribly difficult for NFL teams to do is down the stretch of the season, narrow your focus to the opponent and nothing else. I know you guys got a little sensitive about tell guys to F off. That wasn't the spirit of it. The spirit of it is occupying your mind with things that are outside what you can control. The ultimate outcome of the game will determine whatever, but every time you're spending doing this, you're not doing that.
Tua is not looking ahead, but he sure remembers last year's game with the Ravens.
I would say what I remember from that game was it was a hard-fought game. Our team last year, we were able to not let the win or not let the score dictate how we wanted to finish or how we wanted to continue to play that game. Obviously, the result was a win.
Linebacker Bradley Chubb has one thing on his mind today.
For sure, man. This is what it's all about, and just being in big moments with a good team, two great teams that's going at it. This is what you live for. This is what you work so hard in the offseason for. And at the end of the day, this is not the end goal. You know what I mean? So we still got a lot to do and a lot to prove. So this is just a one step in that right direction.
Will injuries be the Dolphins' biggest test, or will it be Lamar Jackson or the Ravens' defense? Hey, it's time to figure it all out. It's Game Day Uncensored. Tobin, Solana, Omar, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, coach. Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC is a proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here. 560 WQAM. Taking you guys up to our Week 17 kickoff. Dolphins and Ravens. If you guys are just joining us, here are the big headlines so far going to Raheem Mostert. He is going to miss today's game. Jalen Waddle, we knew this. This was ruled out on Friday. He is also out today. So those are the big injuries. We'll get actives and actives later on this
Robert
hour.
Hunt is likely going to not participate in this game, which is no surprise considering he's been sidelined for another month. And then you've got Austin Jackson, which is, I think, the biggest game day decision. He might be active. The question is, will he start? He's got an oblique tear, which basically is not going anywhere. Will he play, or will you feel more comfortable putting Kendall Lamb out there at right tackle? And we all know how well Lamb has played this season. So.
I did see Cameron Wolf of NFL Network. He had tweeted out that the expectation is for Austin Jackson to be active today. So
okay.
I know
he was active last week. I don't think that's the big surprise.
Yeah.
However, we do have Emmanuel Ogbah tweeting out
I'll throw the tweet up here for our video audience here.
Yeah,
but it's,
wow. Laugh out loud, which is not surprising to me. They basically inactivated him, even though he's healthy, and will play Melvin Ingram, who's on the practice squad, ahead of him.
Man.
I mean, it is what it is, bro. When Vic don't like you, Vic don't like you.
Is that just not knowing the system though? Like it's
no,
is that a personality thing?
It's also, I kind of support Vic's decision on this from this standpoint. Lamar Jackson is very elusive. This is about setting the edge, containing the edge, and being able to finish as a pass rusher. Melvin Ingram's got 61 career sacks. He's a finisher. That's what he's known for in his career. So if you have to put him into that pass rushing situation, Ogbah's more power. And do you see Ogbah really chasing down I'm about to say Michael Vick, Lamar Jackson? Do you see Ogbah chasing down and catching Lamar?
No.
Okay. Do you see potentially Melvin Ingram catching Lamar?
No.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. But who has a better chance of catching him?
Well,
neither.
Isn't it the guy who
told me
been
it was
playing
Christian
all
Will.
season?
Huh? Who? What?
The guy who's been playing all season, Emmanuel Ogba, not the guy who was on his couch a week ago.
2 weeks ago. But I get your point. Neither have been playing all season.
But if you like, it's an odd thing. Like I know that Melvin was impressive, especially early last year. He wasn't in Vic's system, so for Vic to just be like, "Yeah, Melvin Ingram, let's just see what he's got," that's got to tell you. That already tells you what he thinks about Emmanuel Ogba. For them to be already being like, Vic's like, "Give me anybody else," and Chris Greer to be like, "Well, he had kind of a good run with Melvin Ingram last year." He goes, "Fine, anybody else." Anybody else.
I will tell you what, though, tweeting out "Wow, LOL." Obviously, he's
been frustrated all season.
He's frustrated.
I think I told you last week. I was just like, I had to tell there are guys who are going through some struggles this year, and nobody's shedding a tear for Emmanuel Ogba because he's the highest paid player on the team. He literally gets the biggest paycheck.
That's the thing that's crazy about it, though. Like there was a time where the off season was centered around keeping Emmanuel Ogba, and to find out the guy is basically schemed out or personalitied out is just strange.
It's collateral loss, man. This is what happens in the NFL when you change coaching staffs and you change schemes and you change coordinators. This has been the Dolphins' history for 2 decades. This is what happens. This is what you do. Hell, you can go sign Christian Wilkins, to a $25 million a year contract this offseason. If Vic Fangio says, bye-bye, I'm out, and then you come in and what?
I don't think he's going to do that with Christian Wilkins.
Vic can,
I would be so scared.
Vic's fear factors, he can walk away at any time. You can't do anything, which is why nobody messes with Vic.
Did you notice how much Christian Wilkins kind of gave the business to Stephen Ross after the game?
The little bump,
a little extra. I didn't. He's an old man. He's got to be very. He could have been careful with him, but he wasn't.
But that's you're in an NFL locker room. They're gonna rough you up.
Everybody
knows.
but it was a little.
I mean, you didn't know it was Garfinkel before that too. So
Garfinkel's a spry man compared to.
Hey man, don't underestimate Stephen Ross. I hear he does the steps in his high rise.
Steps.
Okay. He actually walks stairs.
Hold on. Christian Wilkins
every day.
Christian Wilkins was carrying Jason Sanders around like a baby. Like he was taking him to Miami Zoo and showing him the lemurs. Look, Jason, look. Like Jason, and I don't think Jason Sanders liked being up on the shoulders. He's like, okay, I'm comfortable now. But Christian Wilkins is celebrating, and you're not going to mess with Christian Wilkins' celebration.
Listen to what Omar is trying to sell us on. He does steps.
Yeah.
Christian Wilkins.
Have you ever done steps?
Double. No.
I
Christian
hate
Wilkins
steps.
does
the torture.
Double the amount Stephen Ross does, and we've all seen how Stephen Ross does a waddle. I mean, that guy doesn't have an athletic bone in his body.
Christian could have.
I'm not even doubting. I don't doubt his athleticism as an 80-whatever-year-old. He's old, and Christian Wilkins is a menace.
And went right after him. Come here, owner.
Let me hug you.
Yeah. It wasn't a hug. It's through his shoulder. You could have hurt him.
I do feel like because the episode before he hugged Uncle Dan, and Uncle Dan didn't get a hug. I think Uncle Dan let him know, like, hey, enough.
Are we really going to call him Uncle Dan now?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. I just needed a collective decision. Okay.
It's been decided. They called him Uncle Dan, so shall we. He's Uncle Dan now. If that makes you feel old, I don't know what to tell you.
All right. I'm with it. I mean, if that's what we're doing, then I'm with it.
Especially the way Christian Wilkins is, which is just, Uncle Dan! Just runs to him.
What I like is the whole team outing Liam Eichenberg as officially the cheapest player on the team.
Yeah,
I totally missed my opportunity to ask Eichenberg about this to get confirmation about this. Because it's hard to replace Christian Wilkins as the cheapest man on the team.
That is. And I was surprised to even hear that he gave him all donuts.
Yeah.
Well done by him.
I was a little bit bothered. That's a lot of sugar for an NFL team.
Oh,
sorry.
Stop it.
It's a Krispy Kreme donut.
They're giving them cakes,
They
Omar.
don't eat the cakes.
And you think they eat the donuts?
Yeah. Did you see everybody was going to get some donuts? I mean, you're not turning down a Krispy Kreme donut.
One Krispy Kreme donut is nothing compared to what these guys are getting on the regular. I mean, on the plane, you walk on the plane, and it's every snack you've ever thought of in your entire life. Name me one candy bar. Name it. Go ahead.
1,000 gram bar or whatever that.
Oh no, okay, they don't have that because nobody eats that garbage. But every candy bar,
Twix,
everything,
Kit Kat,
everything.
All right,
Sour Patch, Goobers. I mean, what name a candy?
They're carb loading. They're carb loading.
Yeah, carbo loading. But they can't eat one donut. Omar, come on.
Did you guys remember back in the day with the Marlins when they used to have the Krispy Kreme promotion, dozen hits, dozen donuts?
No.
Oh, it was one of the best. You'd start chanting where we want donuts if they got a dozen hits. And then you had to take that. It wasn't like, there'd be a Krispy Kreme at a racetrack. Oh, you had to go to the one Krispy Kreme
in North
that
Miami.
was in North Miami, right by the Toys R Us. Oh,
Yeah.
I took my ticket stub right there.
When did they ever get 12 hits in a game?
No, they had a decent offense back then because it was like
the
the
Hervita era.
No, it was like they had a Delgado and Lowell.
Yeah.
I was like, it happened every once in a while. I feel like I got like a good. I probably visited like 6 times that season. It was a great promotion.
Yeah.
I missed it. Bring that back. Dozen hits, a dozen donuts.
That is a great.
That
promo.
is a great promotion. Yeah.
Anyway,
and it was nobody remembers Krispy Kreme anymore.
No, and when the light goes on, oh man,
that light's always on. They never turn it off. You're just fooled by it.
I am fooled by it.
That light never goes off.
I don't think
they might turn that light off for like
I feel
1
like
minute.
They got kind of. I feel like Krispy Kreme did get kind of stomped on by like the fancy Mojo donuts or any places like that do like the bacon on a donut.
You know what? Miss me with all these like gourmet donuts. Just give me a good old fashioned plain Krispy Kreme glazed donut or like a Dunkin' Donuts chocolate frosted sprinkles on top. I'm sick of these stupid gourmet donut places. Enough. I don't want to pay $18 for one donut.
Take a quick break here on Game Day Uncensored. Back with more to this.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Edmore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios.
Automotive.
Welcome back, everybody. Game day. Uncensored here. 560 WQAM. Streaming live on YouTube and Twitch. The channel is where you guys get us. Is Miami 560 WQAM. So check that on out, everybody. Shout out to D is for Dolphins, who's watching us in New Mexico.
Hey,
how about that? Huge in New Mexico. Never knew that.
Getting your Dolphins fix, baby.
Solana, give us I know it's like fantasy championship time around. Are there any?
Is this around?
Got
What's
some,
going on here?
Championship. I got guys.
Are you in?
I suffered the worst fantasy loss I've ever suffered in my entire life. To Miho of Power 96. You bum. This bum Miho.
I think he's your king. I think he's your daddy.
So
since he won.
Here's your fantasy update. I got hosed on fantasy last week, and here's what happened. I have CMC, right? Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Last guy playing. I just needed one more reception on that last drive last week for the Niners, where they're driving. They could still make it a game. And I lost 122.92 to 122.78. So I lost by less than 0.2 of a point to Miho from Power 96. And Christian McCaffrey had the ball on the 1 yard line. And the Niners gave it to him. He fell 3 inches short of the goal line, which would have secured the victory for me. And then they never gave it back to him. And the Niners lost, and I lost, and I am devastated.
Tough
I'm
sledding.
devastated.
Well, if you are playing fantasy, I imagine you probably heard today on the Dolphins because
no Mostert.
Raheem Mostert's a huge loss
For championship week. Guys not having Mostert like that. That is rough, man.
Yeah, just chalk him up for a touchdown, probably too.
So,
At least 10, 12 points every game.
So what do you do if you're a fantasy owner and you don't have Raheem for today?
You have other guys on your bench, but obviously like Mostert is RB1 on everybody's roster. So not having RB1 on your roster for championship week, I mean, you're in shambles. You're in shambles.
You're hoping that like Chris Brooks has the game of his life. Maybe.
Not gonna happen.
The fantasy football update is brought to you by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on game day. Pour me in, coach. Find cocktail recipes for every fan at Tito'sVodka.com. Distilled and bottled in Austin, Texas. 80% alcohol by volume, namely 80 proof, crafted to be savored responsibly. Do you guys still think do you have any hope Tyreek Hill can get this record?
No.
He's 324 yards away.
No.
Need a couple of what if he gave you 200 today?
If it gives you 200 today, then I think it's possible. But
yeah. No, it's not possible.
I mean, if he gives you 200 today,
yeah, but that's not possible. I'm very intrigued by who's going to step up for Jalen Waddle, and I do have my leading suspects. Now, as I've said to you guys all season, when Waddle is out or Tyreek is out, Chosen becomes way more prominent. And the reason why Chosen becomes way more prominent is because he's the type of receiver that's called a spacer. They do exactly what the name says. They space out the field for everybody else. And Miami's offense is built on creating vertical space and horizontal space. That's why they run the run game and they have those quick hitches to the sidelines, because literally they're forcing teams to defend every single blade of grass. If you don't have Chosen out there, then you're not forcing them to defend every single blade of grass, because nobody's running with River Craycraft or Braxton Berrios or Cedric Wilson deep.
No.
So you're going to have to play Chosen probably about 20 snaps. I think that's the primary reason you've seen him magically overcome a concussion in a week.
That's what I was going to ask you.
I mean, he got messed up last week.
Yeah, I mean, he was, and he was on the side. One thing I found very interesting was that the doctor who covers the NFL, I can't remember his name, but he said basically he didn't believe that Chosen had suffered a concussion because the concussion rules prevent you from being on the sidelines if you had suffered a concussion. And there was Chosen in the second half in street clothes watching the game. So I was like, that's interesting. But then again, Chosen's the kind of guy that kind of makes his own rules, and he can slide.
His name to Chosen,
he could slide right under the radar. But then we learned that he was in the concussion protocol, and so. But then we learned that he was a step ahead of where everybody else started when the process began. Didn't practice one day, red jersey the next day, cleared on Friday. So I was like,
it's the chosen protocol.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, cool.
The Dolphins, though, like if there's one thing I'm 100% certain of, the Dolphins are not messing around with the concussion.
Absolutely not.
So
Yeah.
if he's clear, like if this was any other organization,
Absolutely,
I'd say
I would 1,000% agree with you.
The one thing I know 100,000 million%, especially with the spotlight on them this week, they're not taking chances with concussion.
Here's what I am saying. If you're Robbie Chosen and you've been here and you waited for this opportunity all damn season, the last thing I'm gonna let stop me after 9 years in my career and never being part of a winning team is a little headache. So, and I didn't say it's the smartest thing in the world or the best strategy in the world. I mean, think about it. We all know players who basically said they've suffered 3 and 4 concussions in a game because that was just their job. So listen, he's going to be out there. I think him and Cedric Wilson are probably going to have to serve and play a more prominent role in the offense.
I think the thing everybody's probably wondering is there any shot this is the Chase Claypool game?
Hey,
I've given up hope on that.
No,
I've given up hope on that. I truly have given up hope on that. I have. I really have. And let me just put it to you this way. Mike McDaniel was probably more critical, saying something more critical of Chase Claypool probably 2 weeks ago than he intended to say, by basically saying, we determine who plays by who performs well in practice, and Cedric Wilson has been outperforming him. That wasn't a diss, but it was a diss. And if you're being outperformed in practice by Cedric Wilson Jr., and no disrespect to Cedric Wilson, even though I'm disrespecting Cedric Wilson.
Sounds like you're about to.
Yeah. That's not a good thing. And Cedric has played well.
He has.
In the last month.
He's gone from like a guy nobody ever thought of to, he'll produce you a couple plays a game usually.
Yeah. And I'm watching Cedric Wilson. I'm watching guys after practice. Last week, you saw Chase Claypool. He was putting in that extra work. He was out there after practice. He was working in the red zone. He was working with a position coach. And then this week, nada. And you know who's out there at practice working with the jugs machine? Cedric Wilson. He knows his time. So I think Chase Claypool is kind of in a mental rut and is not, and they say great things about him, and they've called.
This isn't the team anybody's going to throw anybody on the bus because the vibes are too good right now.
Yeah.
Even if you have like a rotten apple in the whole bunch, you'd be like, just cover it up a little bit. We got some good apples to make this look like a good produce section.
So you're saying my Chase Claypool anytime touchdown prop on the Hard Rock Bet app was a bad idea?
Yes, I am.
Wow. What about Craycraft?
Yes.
What about Durham Smythe?
Durham Smythe's been kind of cooking.
Oh my gosh!
This might be you know what? This might be the week for Durham Smythe.
I'm feeling the Durham Smythe in the red zone.
Yeah,
you know who I'm feeling? Actually, I'm feeling Julian Hill in the red zone.
Really?
Stop it!
I'm telling you. Look,
I was alone on a Julian Hill Island earlier this season. None of you wanted to jump in with me.
Give me the odds on Julian Hill for a touchdown.
There's not going to be any Julian Hill.
Julian Hill
there's got to be a Julian Hill.
Julian Hill has a penalty like once every 3 weeks that makes me want to yell at my television. I'm just like,
there has to be a Julian Hill
plus 1,100.
Plus 1,100. I put money on it.
How about
I put a little on it.
No joke. How about Alec Ingold anytime touchdown plus 1,300?
No.
Just hear me out for a second.
Okay.
All right. No Raheem Mostert in the red zone. You get to the goal line situation. Usually Alec Ingold is just bulldozing the way for him. But without Mostert, I don't know. Maybe a little fullback handoff to Alec Ingold? No? Reward him?
It's Bradley.
No.
Bradley Chubb anytime touchdown. Speaking.
Yeah, I did that one. I did that one last
plus
week.
What?
Plus 10,000.
I did that one last week
on Lamar.
A little strip sack.
A strip sack.
Plus
fumble.
10,000.
$5 wins you 500.
Mm-hmm. Let's go. Put it in. Boom.
No, hold on. That doesn't make sense. Plus what? What is 10,
it? Plus 10,000. You put $5, you win 505. I'm in.
No,
it's gonna be Van Ginkel. Everybody knows it.
Yeah.
Van Ginkel odds Hard Rock.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah. Van Ginkel. Yeah. Van Ginkel. That man finds the ball. So yes.
take a quick break. Actives and actives should be out on the other side. We will go over and see if anybody else has any passive aggressive tweets about it. That's next.
Hey, want to see the ugly mugs that go along with our melodious voices? Do I have to worry about this? We are on YouTube. That's great.
Sponsored by South Florida Lexus dealers, Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here, 560 WQAM. Tobin here with you alongside Alejandro Solana and Omar Kelly, who is getting his camera back on him there. You guys can watch us. Miami 560 WQAM on YouTube and Twitch. We have the actives and the inactives here for you, which are always brought to us by JM Lexus. When it comes to loyal fans, it's JM Lexus with a 4.8 Google rating and over 13,000 reviews. JM Lexus, West Sample Road and Margate. All right, guys, here's what we got today. The inactives for the Miami Dolphins. Not too many surprises. We already knew a couple of them coming into today's show with Jalen Waddle and Raheem Mostert being out. Omar, you mentioned at the top of this hour about Robert Hunt. Would he be able to go or not? What was the diminishing return of that? He is inactive today. He's got it's a quad.
It's a
hammy.
It's a hamstring. It's a left hamstring. It's a bruise about right under his butt cheek, about the size of a grapefruit.
Jeez.
But he's practiced this week. He's getting closer to getting back involved in the action.
So Robert Hunt is inactive. We do have news on Austin Jackson. He is active.
Austin Jackson is active. We will need to be watching practice to determine whether or not he's going to be in the starting lineup. I think there's a possibility that you keep Kendall Lamb in there at right tackle and have Austin serve as the primary backup.
Tyler Kroft, he is inactive. And then the tweet did predict it. Emmanuel Ogbah, inactive.
Yeah, you could tell the emotion of Ogbah hearing the news that he was inactive and the frustration. He sent it out via tweet. Wow, LOL. And listen, as somebody, I tweeted him, keep your head up, because this has been something that's been ongoing all season, and it's no secret inside the locker room. Like, Emmanuel is kind of being hated on, which is fine. You do what it is. Everybody gets a right to do what they want to do, especially when you have the number 4 defense. So a practice squad player who is a well-established practice squad player is playing ahead of him. Fine, no problem. But don't act like it's easy for a guy to digest. But as a fan, put in my response to my keep your head up, he put a gif of a guy wiping his tears with money. And people are funny. People funny on the internet.
15 mil.
Yeah.
To miss week 17. I mean, you could think of worse situations. Cam Smith is saying, hey, Emmanuel, settle down.
Yeah.
Settle down with the Twitter fingers.
Yeah, it's nobody's shedding a tear for you, Emmanuel. I'm over here making a rookie minimum, and I'm getting the same treatment that you're getting. I'm in the Vic Fangio doghouse.
Cam Smith bought Vic Fangio tapioca for a year, hoping that's gonna put him into the lineup.
Cam Smith might need to bring donuts to the whole team meeting room.
What does Cam Smith have to bring?
Yeah, that's a good question.
To get under Vic Fangio's good graces.
A racing form. You would love to play the ponies.
A Philly cheesesteak. I don't know what Cam Smith's going to have to do. But at least he's not playing behind Ethan Bonner today. So listen, that's a step in the right direction. But another step in the right direction is Jalen Ramsey, who is playing. He surfaced on the injury report with a knee. I talked to my sources. They said it's nothing. It's nothing serious. Don't calm down.
And Javon Holland is active.
Yes, Javon is. This has been a long time coming, and it's been a month. He got shut down. Now we will test it. We debated this earlier in the show if you should go that route.
Yeah, well, Solana scared me with his stupid knee tell.
Yeah. The knee tell
terrified me because now I'm gonna be watching him during the game.
If he's rubbing his knees, we're a little.
Doesn't
we need
have
to be a
faith
little
in
concerned.
the knees.
I'm an knee guy. All right, that's my area of expertise. I'm a knee guy.
Yeah,
I don't think that Leroy would like it if I told you what do you think of the statement from Solana? I'm a knee guy.
Leroy thinks I'm a bitch regardless.
Leroy, who's dealing with his own torn meniscus right now.
Yeah, I mean, this guy ripped me for having one ACL surgery and then one meniscus surgery. This guy's had 18 surgeries since then. And
what's all happened to him?
I was third team all day, Tobin.
You mentioned on the Baltimore inactives. I saw you on Twitter. They got some hurt in that in the secondary, including Kyle Hamilton, who is going to be inactive for them. He was questionable this week, but he is out.
That is a huge, and let me tell you why that's huge, because he's the best safety in the game, and he is the equivalent to Jalen Ramsey. I'm not even going to put him on the equivalent to Javon Holland because they're not equal players. So that's going to be huge for the Ravens. They're also down cornerback Brandon Stevens and Damarion Williams. Kevin Zeitler, their starting guard, is not playing. So this is going to be very interesting to see what happens. But this is December football, man. Everybody's got injuries. Everybody's banged up. Everybody's on fumes. Your guy, Liam Eichenberg, he's playing. He's in the lineup. Yeah. Season's in his hands.
What did I say? I said you had to have a no sack week if I was going to apologize.
They gave up one sack, and when it
wasn't him.
It wasn't him. But when it happened, I'm like, damn.
Yeah.
We were almost there.
I'll put that on the table for today, too. I'll put it on the table. If
Yeah,
Liam Eichenberg wants an apology from me and no more slander ever from Tobin, no sacks this week.
He at least deserves
against the best sack team in the NFL. Okay, that's great.
He deserves some props.
Man,
Tobin. He does.
He has gotten props.
They only allowed one sack, but boy, did they get to a lick a couple times.
Yeah, they did.
He got banged up.
I appreciate these referees not liking football because with those roughing the passer calls on Dak and on Tua, they were like, hey, you guys trying to ruin the playoffs?
Yeah,
Knock it off,
basically,
Knock it off, Micah Parsons.
No, that wasn't fair to Christian because literally Dak, and this is the smartest thing I've ever seen. Dak literally grabbed Christian and pulled him on top of him and made it. And Christian's like hands are extended, like I'm not touching this guy. I'm not doing anything to him, even though I put all my weight on him. But Dak was holding the back of his jersey, pulling him down on top of him.
It's genuinely one of the most athletic things I think I've ever seen a football player do, what Christian Wilkins did, which is as all his body weight is moving forward, to be able to lift up his hands and try his best to get off of him. It's harder. It's harder than a sack.
His best to get off of him, and Dak is literally holding him, hugging him, like, "Oh no, you're about to fall on me, dude."
You want to talk about jiu-jitsu? I've never seen a quarterback pull guard before, where he brings his opponent to the ground, and that was worse than the Jalen Phillips on Justin Herbert a year ago. That was so bad. I was ready to break some. I threw out an expletive at the holiday party while that happened, and I got a lot of dirty looks. I was like, I'm sorry, it's that's not what we're doing here.
Crazy. At least, talking about the Ravens in San Francisco. At least the ref doesn't trip your quarterback leading to a safety. I mean, that was bad.
That was bad. I can't believe that.
Could you imagine?
If you want to know who can get Lamar Jackson.
I mean, if you want to be upset, imagine losing that game by 2 or by 1, and the referee tripped your guy leading to a safety. I mean, that's bad.
Hey, man, referees are part of the field. Suck it up.
But don't fall on your ass in the end zone, referee. How about better balance from you?
But getting back to Tua's surface on the injury report, he's got a thumb injury on his throwing hand, and he's got I think his quad. And it's funny because he was limping. He was limping out to practice on Wednesday, and I'm shooting the video of Tua walking out to practice because I think the first song of the week is always like the mental theme,
the tone setter,
the tone setter. So I'm shooting Tua walking out to practice. I'm just focused on getting the right shot. Number one, there's this very exotic, tall, long-legged woman who's part of the Dolphins video crew that every Dolphin fan was like, okay, who's she? Where is she? And so that distracted them. And then also, I didn't notice Tua was limping in the video until people who saw the video was like, yeah, why is our quarterback limping? And then it came out on the injury report that he's got this quad injury.
I saw. So should I be worried?
He said the Hard Knocks previously he was banged up. He said, "Yeah, I'm banged up." But I mean, he's a warrior. Tua is clearly a warrior.
Takes me back to Super Bowl Radio Row, and me and my producer Robbie the Degenerate were stalking Tua to look at his gait off the hip injury.
Oh yeah, I was there. I was doing that. I was stalking him. Yep.
How's that gait look? How's he looking?
We were all a bunch of weirdos at Radio Row, just looking for Tua. Where's Tua?
Yeah.
How's that hip?
Yeah, no, we were a bunch of weirdos. I was in that weirdo group.
Uh-huh.
But listen, watching him this week with the Christmas, God, he loves Christmas. Like he couldn't help himself.
The Christmas onesie.
Yeah,
the Christmas onesie.
So good.
But I thought everybody had a onesie on, right?
No, I
No,
don't think so.
only
Just
two?
Tua.
Oh, just your quarterback.
Just your jolly quarterback
Mm-hmm.
who could just see. He wanted to give away the presents every week. Like they had to say, no, Tua, we're not doing Secret Santa yet.
No. Hey, can we do it now? Can we do it now? Like Tua's like a kid, like waiting for Christmas.
Legitimately loves
no,
Christmas.
and we had to tell him because Tua doesn't watch Hard Knocks, and I promise you he doesn't watch Hard Knocks. You don't believe anything. Like
I don't believe athletes.
I believe Tua doesn't watch Hard Knocks.
Tua doesn't watch. I don't think Tua doesn't watch games. Like Tua doesn't watch games.
I think he goes and he plays Eric Clapton in his garage.
Ukulele.
He's just
putting all the time in on the
fully
ukulele.
guitar now. He's fully guitar. Don't dismiss his guitar skills. He's graduated from the ukulele now. He basically we mentioned that we enjoyed the fact that
you like Christmas.
No, he was harassing. We was like they used you to like he came in the scene like 4 times. Like, can we open him up? Can we open him up? Can we open
It was a big story.
Yeah,
it was the best part of Hard Knocks. It was. Outside of Dan Marino getting mocked by Mike McDaniel.
Yeah, that was a good part.
Tua's delight for Christmas and Dan Marino is like there for the present exchange. That was Goosey's galore. Dude. It was the best.
It was. And just seeing how much all those guys love Dan Marino too.
Yep.
Like that was effing awesome. Also underrated part of Hard Knocks, Kader Kohu's little brother in the stands the entire time.
I might have to start back here.
Yeah. I might have to start Van Ginkle. He's like, oh, this Van Ginkle's good.
Yeah.
But then also when
you haven't noticed him all season.
Yep.
Like, yeah.
Also, Kohu getting matched up against CeeDee Lamb, and he's like, he's got CD, and then CeeDee's in the end zone with the touchdown, and it's like, oh,
it's a tough week. Plus, his dad was like, I don't know if I'm going to root for the Dolphins.
Yeah, I was like what?
I love that.
I
Yeah,
was like, a Cowboys fan, come on, Kader.
Then he had to hit him with the French. You saw that? He hit him with the French. Like, hey, shut the F up.
Yeah. Like, know where your loyalties are, okay, Dad?
Crazy, man.
Yeah, I thought that was like crazy. Like, yeah, Dad's like, I don't know who I'm gonna root for. Of course, you're gonna root for the Dolphins.
We'll take a quick break here. Game Day Uncensored rolls on as we are getting ready for Dolphins and Ravens. We'll hear a little bit from the Cheetah on this upcoming matchup. Back after this.
Listening to W2AM for look at the past.
not to think about anything else.
The main thing that is so terribly difficult for NFL teams to do is down the stretch of the season, narrow your focus to the opponent and nothing else. I know you guys got a little sensitive about tell guys to F off. That wasn't the spirit of it. The spirit of it is occupying your mind with things that are outside what you can control. The ultimate outcome of the game will determine whatever, but every time you're spending doing this, you're not doing that.
Tua is not looking ahead, but he sure remembers last year's game with the Ravens.
I would say what I remember from that game was it was a hard-fought game. Our team last year, we were able to not let the win or not let the score dictate how we wanted to finish or how we wanted to continue to play that game. Obviously, the result was a win.
Linebacker Bradley Chubb has one thing on his mind today.
No, for sure, man. This is what it's all about, and just being in big moments with a good team, two great teams that's going at it. This is what you live for. This is what you work so hard in the offseason for. And at the end of the day, this is not the end goal, you know what I mean? So we still got a lot to do and a lot to prove. So this is just a one step in that right direction.
Will injuries be the Dolphins' biggest test, or will it be Lamar Jackson or the Ravens' defense? Hey, it's time to figure it all out. It's Game Day Uncensored. Tobin, Solana, Omar, the pregame show for real Miami football fans on AM 560 Sports, WQAM, FM 99.9 HD2, and always live on the free Odyssey app.
Game Day Uncensored is sponsored by South Florida Lexus Dealers. Experience amazing by Tito's Handmade Vodka. Tito's Handmade Vodka on Game Day. Pour me in, coach. Ed Morse Sawgrass Buick GMC is a proud partner of the Miami Dolphins. Remember, you're always backed by Morse. By JM Lexus. At JM Lexus, you'll always get the home team advantage.
Welcome back in, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored, final hour of your pregame coverage as we lead you up to Week 17. Dolphins and Ravens, 1 seed on the line today. 1 o'clock kickoff for some odd reason, but I am not complaining. Cool. 1 o'clock kickoff today for this monster game with all the stakes on it today from Baltimore. Let me ask you something, boys. I was just asked from my guy Martin. Shout out to Martin. He's my buddy and also a great boxing publicist. He's a monster Dolphins fan, and he just hit me with a prediction and genuinely hit him back with, I'm oddly confident. I think I'm almost too confident today, and I don't know why. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the matchup from last year. I don't know if it's the Dolphins finally getting the stigma off their back last week with winning a game against a double-digit win team. Very impressed with the mindset after the Cowboys took the lead. That was like business, Omar. They just drove right down. They got where they needed to be. And I know everybody's kind of smooching the Ravens' ass right now, but it's a short-lived smooch because they weren't on the Ravens like this last week. It just took up until beating the Niners the way they did and exposing Brock Purdy. I don't think that's going to happen to the Dolphins. The Dolphins, first of all, I'll give you a couple of reasons. One, this defense has been amazing. I mean, they really have been. I've been so impressed with how they've turned things on, especially since Jalen Ramsey's come back. Now they're getting Javon Holland back. Percentage or no percentage, whatever. He's back out there. I think they got the tools to do this, to slow this Ravens team down. And I think they're a lot more physical than teams give them credit for. And I think that you even without having Raheem Mostert, you got Tyreek and you got Tua, you got a way. You got the way to get it done. So I'm excited about this one. And I'm oddly confident that the Dolphins can get this done and can do it in convincing fashion too.
My glass half empty mentality tells me that it's not going to happen.
Wow. What happened to the McDaniel juice?
You're missing too many weapons. You're missing Raheem. You're missing Jalen Waddle. Your offensive line is completely banged up. If Tua doesn't put on a cape today, or Tyreek doesn't put on a cape today, it's not going to happen. And do I believe that maybe the defense can produce a turnover up against one of the best quarterback, the MVP candidate of the NFL, and deliver points for you and assist you a little bit? Because let's not pretend like this offense hasn't been struggling for the last 3 weeks. So I would love to sit here and tell you that I just absolutely think it's going to happen. Short days worth of rest. So the 49ers physical game that they're coming off against the 49ers, one less day of practice and preparation time, one less day of body recovery time. So everything should say that the Dolphins should have a great chance, but somebody's got to go off. Achan's got to go off. Jeff Wilson's got to go off. Tyreek's got to go off. Tua's got to go off. Hell, Durham Smite's got to go off. And I just don't know who that is.
But I think they have the capability of going off. Like, we've seen these guys go
They
off.
have. The game they played without Jalen Waddle, they scored 70 points.
Yep.
Earlier this season.
Game they played without Tyreek Hill, shut out.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point.
They've had this ability.
Jets.
I know, but they've had this ability, Solana. Like, if they seem like they're down too many guys,
You're playing the number 1 defense in the NFL, though.
What I know Omar, but for some reason I was still a little disappointed from his answer. But like I know you. I know what you were gonna say. I knew what you were gonna say.
You thought that Mike McDaniel had brainwashed me.
Because you said that he did, and you lied to us.
No. I said that it's influenced me. Like I would love. I feel good about the chances, and I know if Tua does this is his rise to prominence. This is his rise to elite status.
See, I look at it in a different way, and I don't disagree with what you're saying. Like Tua and Tyreek have to have amazing games, and you're right. This could be the game.
This could
that
be it.
Ends all narratives.
Yes.
About Tua Tagovailoa. So I agree with that premise.
Until next week against the Bills.
Yeah.
True.
But what's the one game that has tripped up the Dolphins all season long?
The big game. And here it is.
Aside from the big game.
It's always the big game.
It's the road game against the big team, right? It's the big
Okay.
game on the road.
Okay.
That has tripped them up. Tobin, you can't just
That's
what's
true.
the
He's right.
one game
He's
all
right.
season?
It's the road game against the
It's
big
the
team.
road game.
It's the big road game.
The game outside of Hard
The
Rock
Eagles,
Stadium against an elite team that has tripped up
Bills,
this team.
Eagles,
But give me
Kansas
a second.
City.
The loss
you
that
think
but
I'm
be honest with
leading
yourself. What was the loss that hurt the most? It was the home game against the bum Titans.
Absolutely, but that's not the game that everybody's using it to say, look, this
But
team
that
is
was-
this,
but
this team is that. The Titans loss was, I think everybody would agree, was just a fluke loss. But the loss to the Bills on the road,
But it was the most disappointing of what they've been all year.
For
like,
sure.
when you could say
outside of the Bills,
you could-
I think that was the most disappointing loss because you didn't even put up a fight. Every other game they put up a fight.
We got to grow up. It was a century ago. But
I'm not hanging my cap on it. I'm just telling you. To me, that was the most disappointing
sounds
loss.
like you are. It sounds like you think Week 3 Dolphins are coming out.
I'm not at all. I'm telling you that this is the game that has tripped up the Dolphins all season long. And to me, look at last week against the Cowboys. The offense right now a little bit banged up. It's not going to be Tua coming out and throwing for 450 yards. To me, the way I think the Dolphins win this game is by their defense dominating and putting the Dolphins offense in a situation just like last week where the Dolphins offense couldn't get touchdowns. They only got one touchdown.
I don't like what you're doing.
It's the defense, shutting down the Ravens and giving Tua and Tyreek the opportunity to win the game late, just as they did last week. I think they win this game, Tobin, but I'm just differing from Omar's opinion where it's Tua and Tyreek going off.
Sounds like you're hoping
I don't
they win.
think.
It doesn't sound like you think they're.
Well, I'm a bit of a coward today. I'm not going to lie.
And you know, the last
my
time you
cowardice is
I'm
showing.
gonna tell you something. The last time you guys acted like this was the Jets game when you're like, "I'll take any kind of win against the Jets," and I told you they were going to come out and stomp them. And I feel like today the Dolphins come out. I think they hit them with a haymaker early that they don't even see coming. I think they're going to hit them with a haymaker early. They go, well, "What just happened here?" And then all of a sudden the Ravens are on the back foot because they're not used to that.
Okay, you can, if you get a lead on Lamar, I do like your chances, but I mean, come on, Lamar is a dynamic, dangerous
Well, they don't need the
weapon.
lead. They showed you last year they don't need a lead. They were getting blown out last year. They came back. They won the game. Destroyed them in the second half. They don't need the lead. I just don't think the Dolphins right now, with how banged up they are capable of putting up, a 40 burger on the road against a team this good. I think it's their defense that has to show up today. The defense has to dominate. There has to be takeaways. They have to give their offense good situations and good field position throughout the game so that Jason Sanders can do what he did last week. The Dolphins can have one or two offensive touchdowns, but still come out with the victory.
If Achan was healthy, and I know he's going to be playing, but if he was healthy, I would say, yeah, like the chances. If Raheem Mostert was even not healthy but still active and playing, and Raheem's gonna strap it up and deliver for you, I would say I like the chances. But man, you can't give me this Dolphins offense minus 2 of their top 3 weapons, and then I say, oh yeah, they could do battle with Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens, who have the number 1 defense in the NFL. Yeah.
Raheem's a bit of a touchdown merchant. Like they can make good on him. Like they'll be sitting there and like they can make. I'm just telling you, you can make exceptions. Let's not act like Jalen Waddle's been like God's gift of football this year. They can make up for it.
This guy just called the
touchdown
Dolphins
merchant. Yeah,
the owner of the Dolphins franchise leader in touchdowns, a touchdown merchant.
I can't deal with them right now. They're not here to help me. So sorry. I'll deal with you guys next week when they're here. Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
You know what you got to do? You guys are next man up mentality. I am. And so what I'm looking at right now is Devon A-Chan. I need that 70 burger kind of energy.
You're outraged that Omar and I aren't just swaggering into a game in Baltimore against the NFL's best team.
Best defense.
The most impressive
They've
win
been the best team for like a
in
week.
the NFL last week.
Oh, come on. They were top 3 all season.
They are Baskin-Robbins flavor of the week. That's all they are.
You're outraged that we're not like, oh, the Dolphins are going to win the game. And we're just simply mentioning, hey, maybe other parts of this team need to step up. And then you come out and you're like, oh, I mean, they're missing the touchdown merchant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Touchdown merchant.
All right.
Like, yeah, it's
nice. We can get,
slightly disrespectful.
Maybe.
Just a
But
tad.
it's like, good. Give somebody else some Hard Knocks FaceTime this week. Like, let's go.
Oh, now he's just a diva, right?
I mean, Tobin's kind of right. I mean, do it 2 seasons in a row and then we'll see. All right.
Oh, come on. Who else is going to be featured on Hard Knocks opening up Christmas presents with their kids?
I don't know, dude.
But you don't. So you don't agree with what I'm saying. It can't just be Tua and Tyreek show today, but it could be the defense stepping up. I'm not saying it can't be.
Defense is a big reason for my confidence. So like, it's like you go into these weeks every week and you're like, oh, this has the number 1 offense. This has the number 1 offense. It's like, look, do I respect Fangs or not? The dude's the number 1 defensive guru in the league. He has done a great job at slowing a lot of people down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to be.
But he told you how great Lamar Jackson is.
Yeah, let me tell you something. They love to give you a false sense of security. Okay, so that is exactly what he's doing.
So what, he's telling lies, or he's just trying to make Lamar feel comfortable?
He's he's basically saying behind closed doors, I got the formula. Plus, don't forget, he's got that fraud. What was that thing that he had? He was like Frosty at the Ravens for like going for a record pretty recently.
Yeah, for when they kept their rushing record alive.
Right. Classic revenge game coming from Fangs.
Oh, okay. I could see that. Listen, if you're playing any other team, I'll even say Buffalo. I'd say you got a good chance because this team has got that mojo, and they do have the mojo. But you cannot tell me you're going to go into a game with an injury-depleted offensive line, which you're already calling plays to compensate for what they don't have and can't do, and then take away my NFL leading touchdown producer and team leading rusher. Give me a running back who's on 1 foot because he's got turf toe, which is horrible for running back. And Tyreek Hill on a gimpy ankle. Yes, he caught 9 passes for 99 yards last week.
Don't stay hurt.
She don't stay hurt. And then no Jalen Waddle and have to rely on Robbie Chosen and Cedric Wilson and River Craycraft to fill the void. And then say, yeah, go beat the best defense in the NFL.
They can make it happen. I'm telling you, this coach, he's got a mind for it. He knows how to. As long as he's been prepped for it. When the things come out of the sky in the game, that's when I worry about Mike McDaniel. But if he's had a week to get ready for it, I'm okay with that.
I agree, by the way. I think it can happen. I don't think the Dolphins are outmatched in this game. I think both of these are the 2 best teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
And just because if the Ravens won.
Spread. Why are you guys acting like they're taking on the 85 Bears?
I'm saying these are the 2 best teams in the AFC. I don't think
it's
the Dolphins
the best
are outmatched.
offense versus the best defense in the NFL.
They're both top 5 in both. They're both great teams.
But the biggest weakness of the best defense in the NFL was what? Running the football.
You guys are impressed.
And you're missing your number 1 rusher. So yeah, I mean, I think that's a big issue.
You guys are impressed by beating Brock Purdy? The guy's Mr. Irrelevant.
He was Mr. MVP the week before.
Please.
Front runner.
Product of the headlines. That's all he's been. We've been waiting for this time bomb on Brock Purdy this entire. Don't shake your head at me, Vlad. And I saw your little comment in the chat that I did this before the Chiefs game, which, by the way, is not a true game. It was on international ground, okay? Barely a real game, and they also needed to cheat to win because that Tyreek Hill wasn't a fumble.
It kind of was a fumble.
It was ridiculous. Not a football move.
That was not a fumble.
It was on the fence.
It's the worst rule in the
The-
NFL.
The only reason he deserved that was because of his mouth, because he talked too much bleep.
Yeah.
But other than that, it was not a football move.
Man.
But either way, that was a
Tobin-
lifetime ago
Tobin
and on
is
another continent.
Taking out people on the way as he swaggered into Baltimore. He called Raheem Mostert a touchdown merchant. I can't believe it.
Wait until
the
you
guy's
see-
dominating this season.
He is dominating, but it's all right. They can make anybody do that. To be honest.
What?
Oh,
It's like, Jeff Wilson's going to do it?
Jeff Wilson can get 2 touchdowns today.
He can.
He can get 2 touchdowns
You
today.
just put Raheem Mostert in the same boat as Gabe Vincent, and I'm saying shame on
Dude,
you.
he literally
Shame
was
on
in the
you.
same boat as Jeff Wilson last year. He didn't all of a sudden become Barry Sanders. Okay?
Listen, speaking of Jeff Wilson, last season he did 1,045 all-purpose yards last season. So everybody was sitting here thinking that this guy's a slouch. For 2 teams, the guy produced 1,045 rushing yards, receiving and
Right.
rushing. So I think he can get it done. I think Achan can stay in his role as that hybrid horizontal stretch type player. Maybe he contributes in the red zone. Maybe he runs a couple of end arounds with Tyreek. Maybe he serves as a decoy. They got a chance. It's just going to take a lot, and the Ravens are going to have to make mistakes.
Take a quick break. Back with more Game Day Uncensored after this.
WQAM broadcasting live from the Ed Moore Sawgrass Auto Mall Studios. Shop massive savings on a massive Chevy inventory, all backed by more.
Tito's Handmade Vodka, Edmore Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Game Day Uncensored here. 560 WQAM, getting you ready for Dolphins and Ravens. Week 17 of the NFL season. Looking forward to this one. There was a report today, by the way. Excuse me.
Well, we're just staring at Toby. That's the worst. You got to sneeze. It's not coming.
All right.
Bless you.
That was lodged up there. Man. Anyway, there was a report this morning, by the way, I should mention. Jalen Waddle, Ian Rappaport says he is not expected back next week, but will be for the playoffs.
Ooh.
So a couple weeks without Jalen Waddle, it seems like.
That seems a little serious.
Yeah, high ankle sprain is not great, dude.
No, it's not.
That's not great, especially for the super fast. The fast are not very good with high ankle sprains. Speaking of super fast, here's Cheetah. Cheetah was doing his A+ trolling this week, especially on Colin Cowherd, and called Colin Cowherd a thug on social media. Here's Cheetah.
I was joking, totally joking. You see how I added thug in there? It's just to have fun, man. And I'm sure he's gonna say something back like, "Oh, can you believe Tyreek Hill said this?" Yes. Give me more followers, baby. That's what I want.
He said it was hurtful.
Oh, he said that?
Half like joking.
See, look, he understands. Like he understands. I'm just having fun, man. I'm a big fan of Colin Cowherd ever since the Lonzo Ball, him and Lonzo Ball was on there. I mean, not Lonzo. What's the dad name? LeVar Ball was on there.
Listen. One, I thought the thug label was a missed opportunity to create a dig. He could have called him a media thug.
Yep.
Or a media troll.
Yep.
And those would have been direct hits. But just a thug? Oh, okay.
What sport has this thug played again? With his upside down smiley emoji. And then Raekwon Davis, he was less fun with it, where he just says, "How about a bleep you and move on?" Which, hey, listen, people will deal with it however you want to deal with it. But it is interesting. He's definitely popped his head out of the sand recently of downing on the Dolphins.
He's gotten on that Tuanon radar. Or they got him a little circle over there.
He's one of the weirdest frauds out there when it comes to the Dolphins, because he was in the Tua documentary and then all of a sudden like had a 180 on him like right before his career started. It was very strange with Colin Cowherd. But not the only person who's dealing with media doubts. This was Lamar Jackson earlier in the week. And he was asked about the idea of them not being the underdogs going into this week. And this is something that Lamar Jackson not comfortable with.
You view yourself as one of those guys who has something to prove?
To myself, absolutely.
And what about when you're not the underdogs? This week, you have the best record in the NFL.
We the underdogs.
Why do you feel that way?
Because we the underdogs.
He doesn't like this. You can tell. He doesn't like the idea of everybody's kissing their ass now. Everybody is all of a sudden on the Ravens bandwagon. He likes having a little bit of edge. And now, all of a sudden, Ravens are the chosen team of the week. It's not the Niners anymore. It's the Ravens. This makes Lamar very uncomfortable.
Yeah, I mean, when you, it's always better to be the hunted than the hunt.
I agree.
The hunter than the hunted.
For sure.
It depends on really the situation, but that's usually where people find more comfort in being the hunter.
Last week, Omar, I don't know if it was on the air, maybe it was during a break, but you had mentioned short week for the Ravens. They played on Monday Night Football. Yeah. I know it's just one less day, but it's still a short week.
It's 2 less days.
We've seen it's like it hit their injuries pretty bad.
Yeah, it's 2 less days. You're literally traveling overnight, and
from the West Coast.
From the West Coast, and anybody who's traveled overnight, that doesn't count. You kind of need a day's rest because your body's just worn out from it. And then they had to have a day off. I believe they did 2 walkthroughs and a practice this week. So, when you play Sunday night, you're generally going to practice. When you play Monday night games, and you play Thursday night games, you're generally only going to get 1 legitimate practice that week. But the big thing is their bodies don't have enough time to heal up. Like usually you would have, because of the lack of rest and because of the fact that you already lose a game. So you just miss 2 days for your body to recover. So their bodies aren't fully recovered from that game. I mean, everybody knows it takes 5 days for your bodies generally to fully recover if you're under 30 from an NFL game. Like Teron Armstead probably just started feeling better on Saturday morning, and now is ready to put his body through another car crash again.
Right.
And here are the Ravens. You know, they're doing it, and their bodies aren't. They're playing a game, and their bodies aren't fully healed.
Yeah, and they've been, I mean, into that way, have done more travel this week than the road team has, because the road team has basically been home for a while, hasn't done a lot of traveling. This is their first road game in what, 3 weeks?
Yeah.
You know? So they've
they certainly will have, the Dolphins will certainly have a physical edge. Now, will you have a physical edge against a physical team? That's the number one team in the NFL in holding teams to the fewest points, in producing turnovers, in producing sacks. Yeah, that's you know, and has a punch you in the mouth style. We'll see. I mean, my biggest issue is the offensive line. They got to be able to hold the line, man. They got to be able to protect Tua and give him time to operate. And if they can't do that, and we'll learn very early on, if they can't do that, it's going to be a long day.
I'm not as concerned with the offensive line. Like they've showed, McDaniel showed that they can be banged up and still produce. They can be really good despite missing some guys. Like that's the one area of concern that doesn't bother me today. The offensive line, to me, it's more no Mostert, no Waddle. You're missing 2 of your 3 best weapons. That to me is more of a concern than the O-line.
Well, it's gonna be interesting too. I mean, like with all the secondary injuries that the Ravens have too, of keeping those receivers blanketed. We know Tua gets the ball out of there quickly. So
you're saying Tyreek over the top a couple times, huh, Tobin?
Even if it's not Tyreek, or even like, you know, I like how he's been getting Smythe involved a lot more recently. Like it does feel like Tua has been taking those safety valves when the bomb isn't there necessarily. Like he's been doing a great job of getting it off to Smythe or finding Barrios or even Ingle, you know, like just like dump it off and get the hell out of here. Let's move on to the next play. Like we don't have to always have the home run there and find yourself set up. I think he's done a really, you know, Tua was very hard on himself early on in the year for the turnovers. To his credit, he's cleaned a lot of that stuff up. He's done a marvelous job of that, which, you know, just continues to show like the development of him as a young player. Because I was concerned about that in the middle of the year, where it was just like, you know, he's obviously got this amazing superpower of like being in tight windows and being able to get fit the ball where other guys won't, but sometimes you just don't have to do that. And I think that he's done just a great job of adjusting since then. Maybe the offense hasn't been as dynamic, but man, who gives a rat's ass at the end of the season? Like 70 Burger, you've shown what you've been able to do. They did what they had to do last week. They put themselves in enough positions to put points up on the board and beat the damn Cowboys. And I think that, you know, that showed a lot of growth to me for this team.
He was good for one bad throw that led to an interception every single week up until, what was that, the Washington game, where like that changed. That totally changed. And he had a couple bad fumbles this season also. Like, you're right. I mean, he deserves credit for cleaning all that stuff up, but it doesn't matter if he throws 3 interceptions today as long as the Dolphins win. You know, like just figure out a way to win the damn football game today. And if that's Durham Smythe, 18 receptions, I don't care.
And an anytime touchdown.
Hey. Come on, Bradley. Come on, Bradley.
Add that on top.
Come on, Bradley.
Just so we're aware, dude.
Send me into 2024. A couple extra $100.
Hey,
richer.
Listen, it's not a bad bet. Would I prefer the money be on Andrew Van Ginkel? Probably.
I would prefer Van Ginkel too, because I feel like Chubb is going to be probably like around batting the ball away.
Yeah,
and then
Van Ginkel,
scoop and score for Van Ginkel.
It's the scooper
Exactly.
that's going to win. Yeah, I think Chubb has a more probable chance of actually knocking the ball out, and you know how Van Ginkel is. That ball just finds him.
Yep. Are those two the Dolphins' defensive MVPs for the season? It's between Chubb or Van Ginkel?
No,
I don't know, man.
Jalen Ramsey.
What?
It's good too.
Jalen Ramsey is like the number one cornerback in the NFL in QB pass, opposing QB passer rating.
Didn't exactly look like it last week. I mean,
he's got to let defenders. Oh, I mean, he got scored on. It happens. It was a perfectly placed ball. Don't act like he didn't have his hand there
Jalen
trying to
Ramsey,
knock it out.
He changed his defense, dude.
He totally changed it. I mean, they were trending up. Jalen Ramsey made them a top four defense.
There's a reason the guy everywhere he goes, the defenses get amazing. Like Jacksonville, LA, here. He's bona fide. He's going to the Hall of Fame for a reason. The That's a great call, because I was actually going to say, like, because otherwise I would go to that front line and be like,
yeah,
is it Chubb? Is it Wilkins?
Yeah, Chubb might lead in sacks, but and that's an important thing.
First double-digit sack guy the Dolphins have had since 2017 when Cam Wake did it. I mean, that's pretty damn impressive.
He's certainly earning his contract.
Yeah.
You know, I know he was a Pro Bowler last year, but even he would probably acknowledge that he kind of didn't earn that.
Mac Jones was a Pro Bowler.
Pro Bowls come out next week. I think the Dolphins might have at least 6. You definitely
Hopefully they don't get to play.
You're absolutely right. You're definitely going to have Tua. You're probably going to have Mostert. Obviously, Tyreek is going to be one. Jalen is definitely going to get his crack. I think you're also going to have Christian Wilkins in there as a Pro Bowler, and then Bradley Chubb. So that's 7, actually.
Man.
The question is, will Christian Wilkins get in? You know, you always get in a year after you deserve it. So that'll be interesting to see and monitor.
We will predict the game balls, give some final thoughts coming up as Dolphins and Ravens is upon us. We're almost there, getting ready for the biggest game of the season. Back with more on Game Day Uncensored after this.
You're listening to the exclusive
Morris Sawgrass Cadillac, JM Lexus, and Williamson Automotive.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Game day uncensored here with you. Getting close. Dolphins, Ravens, 1 o'clock kickoff from Baltimore. Let's predict the game ball, gentlemen. And that is also brought to us and always brought to us by the powerful and capable Lexus GX, now with a 10.3-inch touchscreen. Expand your comfort zone. Experience amazing at your local Lexus dealer. Omar, who will win the game ball? Who will get a game ball today for the Miami Dolphins should they win in Baltimore?
I am going with Xavier Howard.
Hey. All right.
Xavier's had a rough season. Not really a rough season, but it's a non up to par season. We all know Lamar Jackson is working on his ability to be a finite passer, and I think he's going to probably put himself in situations where Xavier could potentially bait him and walk away with potentially a pick six.
Yeah, I remember that. That was kind of the rub that game last year. Bateman got him a couple of times.
Yep.
And so Xavier's probably licking his chops, looking for a little bit of revenge. Definitely a better Ravens receiving core. Zay Flowers and, Odell's, not wash. So, like, you got to give this a lot more respect.
Don't let Odell Beckham beat you today.
Right? It already happened with Hopkins, dude. Hopkins, everybody said, Hopkins over the hill. And
Hold on, wait a minute. Wait. Hopkins has had Xavier for the majority of his career, and primarily because the NFL refs will allow Hopkins to push off. Like, if you look at every single play where Hopkins is beating Xavier, it's because he's pushing off. Odell, I don't think he gets that benefit of the doubt anymore. I don't think he gets those favorable calls.
What about you, Solana? Who do you think is going to win the game ball today?
Everything I said.
Who takes home the game ball today?
Yeah, everything I said earlier. I'm about to contradict myself, but I'm a gas bag, so that's what I do. Hey, remember when Tyreek Hill missed the game and we all put the onus on Jalen Waddle to have a big game?
That is correct.
Yep.
Right. Well, today, let's be fast today, boys.
Wow.
Let's be fast today because Jalen Waddle is out. Raheem Mostert is out. And the star, Tyreek Hill, the cheetah, is in. So I'm going to say last time he was there, couple touchdowns over the top. I'm hoping it's the same today. Omar talked me into it.
With all the attention
to Tyreek Hill today, he has to dominate. So I'm going to say the cheetah gets the game ball. But if Bradley Chubb wants to give me an anytime touchdown, then, I'll take that as well.
Listen, with all the attention that the Baltimore, because literally Baltimore is going to be playing this game like
stop cheetah, you probably win the game.
Bracket cheetah,
yeah,
shadow cheetah, zone cheetah, cloud cheetah. Like, you don't have to worry about anything else.
Yeah,
and you're saying you're riding the cheetah.
All right, McDaniel. All right, boy genius. Let's see.
All right,
let's see.
I'm going Jeff Wilson.
Ooh,
I'm going Jeff Wilson.
I like it.
I liked him that last week. He took it home on that important drive. I think he'll get more opportunities, especially in the red zone this week. Run angry. I love the way he runs angry. And this is kind of his time. Mostert's gone. You're telling me Achan's a little bit banged up, so I'm sure those in-betweens, like, they'll definitely give Achan some touches. But, like, you get to those touchdown, that red zone area, that's prime for Jeff Wilson for me, man. So I think he gets a couple TDs today. Racks it up a little bit more.
Is anybody more rested on this team than Jeff Wilson?
No.
Tyler Croft.
Okay, yeah. I mean, people who are relevant.
And Emmanuel Ogba.
Damn.
I will let everybody know the lines are up on Hard Rock. You can get Van Ginkel now anytime touchdown, also plus 10,000. I threw $5 on that during the break.
What was Chubb's line?
It was same.
Yeah,
same.
Plus 10,000.
It was same.
They're like, you want to throw us some free money? Let's do it.
Yeah.
Craycraft anytime touchdown plus 2,000. Is this the week?
He had one last time the Dolphins were in Baltimore. He had a touchdown.
2,000 plus 2,000 for him. And then you're fritzing out on me here, Hard Rock app. Not the time to do that. Smythe. First touchdown for Durham Smythe. Only plus 375.
Yeah, I don't know if that's.
I don't know if I'm throwing it. It doesn't wet my whistle.
Yeah.
Doesn't wet my whistle. I'm a home run swinger. I'm not going for
You're not trying to hit that. You're not trying to get on first base.
Getting a line drive does nothing for me. Does nothing. I'm not trying to looserize this thing. Okay, I'm not Tony Gwynn. I need to get a big old hack into the stands. That's how I like to do my gambling.
And what's your strikeout ratio?
Oh, it's big. Kevin Love 11 rebounds last night at plus 2,000. What was I thinking? Guy was done playing by the fourth quarter. He was so winded.
Yeah,
he was done. Solana, nothing. Is there any shot the Patriots do the Dolphins a favor this week? No shot.
No
shot.
Well,
Bill Belichick
they beat them once already.
That's
like
true.
that. If they hadn't beat them once already this year, I'd say, okay, Bill Belichick, one last hurrah.
You never know
with
with Bill Belichick. You never know.
If there was a game that he was gonna do, it'd be this one. He loves playing the Bills. He loves shutting up the Bills. But come on, man, they're gonna beat them twice in one season.
You never know with Bill Belichick. Remember,
Mac
Bill
Jones
Belichick is still playing for his job and his future and his career.
No, he's not. He's out of there.
But
he's got to impress. He's got to impress.
I saw a report that said how how they can make this work, how they can fix this relationship.
It is past it's past being fixed.
Well, he just signed an extension, right? Like, so
I mean,
he's going to get
that's
paid
never
out.
stopped anybody from being fired or traded. And I don't think Belichick's going to be fired. I think Belichick's going to be traded. Now, what do you trade or who you trade or how you figure that out? That's for the agents to work out. But are you really willing to say Belichick is done in New England right now, unequivocally, no doubt, no turning back?
I mean, I was wrong about Damian Lillard, as my friend Bobovsky or whatever will point out in the chat. But I don't think there's a chance in hell Bill Belichick is back in New England next year.
Any other AFC matchups? We got obviously a big one with Bengals and Chiefs later on. Chiefs got to get things right, man. I mean, they do not look like anything special right now. They've obviously had their struggles, losses,
bro,
like crazy.
The Raiders did not complete a pass in the second, third, or fourth quarter, and they beat the Chiefs. Could you imagine telling somebody that 3 years ago? Yeah,
it's wild.
Mahomes is going to lose to a quarterback who didn't complete a pass after the first quarter.
Did you see that Jamar Chase's his quote this week about going up against the Chiefs' number one defense or top defense? And he goes, "It ain't like they got Jalen Ramsey." I was like, "Whoa!" They don't like each other. Obviously, a very lot of big stakes games between these two clubs. So, but no Joe Burrow. Tough for them. I don't know. Still nothing.
Quarterback Jake Browning.
Still nothing. Still nothing. It is still weird that the Dolphins. This is coming up here in just a mere matter of minutes, but nonetheless,
doesn't feel real, right?
It feels crazy. This is so much fun.
Biggest game since 2008.
Yep.
Back when Chad Pennington had to beat the Jets, his former team.
Is there a big contingency going up there? Like, is there a lot of Dolphin fans, or is Baltimore a tough place to do that?
No. It's going to be slammed with Dolphins fans today.
Yeah.
Telling you.
Okay.
It's going to be
slammed. Like, I'm going to notice it.
You will notice it.
Really?
You will notice it.
Okay.
You're going to see a lot of Aqua in Baltimore today. Telling you.
Interesting.
All that entire New York contingency is going to drive down for sure. And I was getting lit up in my DMs with like, hey, are you going to be in Baltimore again this year? Dolphins parties last night. I'm telling you, it's going to be a lot of aqua and orange in that stadium today.
I've always said and admired and respected the Dolphins road fan base.
Yeah.
That, as big as you think the New York MetLife takeover is, that Cali Dolphins club.
No, it's crazy, man.
That Cali Dolphins club is crazy.
When they used to play in San Diego,
yeah,
that stadium would be filled with Dolphins fans. But
anytime they played San Diego, or even California, even in Las Vegas.
Yeah, Las Vegas too.
Oh, it's full of Dolphins fans.
The Santa Clara one when they played the Niners last year was the one that shocked me, because in San Francisco, like, just an insane amount of Dolphins fans.
Anything west of Vegas, with the exception of Seattle, is the stadium's full of Dolphin fans. Arizona too, so I guess I can't include Vegas, so I don't know my state. So, which one comes first? Vegas,
and then California.
Yeah.
Okay. So Arizona is in
south. That's southwest
of Vegas. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Hey, it's been a long time since I did geography. All right, don't judge me.
Huh.
I get on a plane and I get off.
I'm going to send you a map after the show, Omar.
I know the general area of where things go. Yeah, it's the West.
Took us 17 weeks to know Omar does not know geography.
I was confused by the graphic there. Did Boomer Esiason pick against the Dolphins, or it was Nate Burleson who picked the Dolphins? Is that it? Because he was the only. There was only one person who picked the Dolphins.
I didn't see it.
Yeah. Sorry, Lamar. Everybody believes in you, dude.
This is weird, man. I am struggling to come to grips with what we are faced with.
It's a
as
big
fan
stakes.
base
It's
today.
a big stakes game, and ultimately, and just like Tua said in his pregame speech that you can find on Dolphins.com and on all Dolphins Twitter handle, everything that we want is right in front of us, and that is absolutely the case. This team has talked Super Bowl all season. They talked about ending the year in Vegas. They know the road there is to host all the playoff games. They're hard to beat at home, especially when they have the South Florida fan base behind them. They know, hey, this is an elimination game for the NFL MVP. And while Tua might not want the MVP honor, his damn team certainly wants it for him because there's a $50 million contract that comes with it.
Absolutely. Well,
Tua doesn't want the MVP.
He doesn't want the MVP.
No, he doesn't want it.
Okay.
He doesn't want the
Beneath
MVP.
Okay.
He doesn't. His agent wants the MVP. Tua, how many times does Tua have to tell you he doesn't want the MVP?
Okay.
You calling Tua a liar?
Yes.
It's week 2. He's calling Tua a liar. There is one thing that Tua is, and that's candidly honest. Tua does not lie,
except to you.
No, he does not lie at all.
The idea that NFL player who is in contention for the most valuable player award
doesn't want it.
Doesn't want it.
Does not want it, brother.
I don't care about it.
I don't care about that.
We do care about this game. Thanks everybody for tuning in. You guys, of course, can hear Game Day Uncensored on the way back after this game with Alex Dono. We will be reacting to a Miami Dolphins team having the 1 seed in the scope next week when we get you ready for Dolphins and Bills. Let's ring in the new year the right way today. Let's be fast today.
Yeah.
Let's go beat the Ravens.
Tua should have said that. Let's be fast.
Talk to you guys next time.
This has been another edition of Game Day Uncensored.